the Odyssey app.
It's partly cloudy, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch at 6 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump is expected to speak this morning after he temporarily reassigned 120 federal agents to the streets of Washington, D.C. over the weekend. Correspondent Scott McFarland.
A spokesperson for the Washington field office of the FBI tells CBS News agents from that office have joined other federal law enforcement visibly at posts in the nation's capital, out public and on the streets. It's part of the president's initiative, he says, to make D.C. safer.
Mayor Muriel Bowser tells MSNBC it's not necessary.
We are not experiencing a spike in crime. In fact, we're watching our crime numbers go down.
The president getting set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska this Friday to talk about a potential ceasefire with Ukraine, whose leader has so far not been included. CBS's Willie James Inman.
The White House remains open to the possibility of inviting Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky to the summit. But for now, the plan is for a one-on-one meeting between Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin. Over the weekend, Zelensky worked to rally support from allies and called on Europe and the U.S. to continue putting pressure on Russia.
It'll be Putin's first visit to the U.S. in a decade. Israel claims a reporter killed in a strike on Gaza over the weekend was a Hamas cell leader responsible for advancing rocket attacks. Reporter Linda Gradstein has details from Jerusalem.
In a statement after the attack, Al Jazeera said the Israeli army's order to kill Anasa Sharif, who they called one of Gaza's bravest journalists, along with his colleagues, is a desperate attempt to silence voices ahead of the occupation of Gaza.
Sharif left a will with the final words, "Do not forget Gaza and do not forget me in your prayers." The group was sheltering outside of Gaza City's largest hospital complex. Violent storms and historic rainfall across the Midwest trapped people in cars, snapped massive tree limbs, and flooded out the last day of the state fair in Wisconsin. Cynthia Ewert's basement in Milwaukee flooded.
You go on living, you do things a little differently then, and readjust your life.
They're bracing for more heavy rain and flash flooding today in parts of Kansas and Missouri. AOL finally ditching dial-up internet service that's been around since the early 90s.
September 30th will be the last day for this. And while it's probably surprising to hear that, yes, there are people who still dial up their internet, the outdated method has stuck around for many as an affordable way to access the World Wide Web, especially in more rural areas. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Dow futures are up 102. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today.
It is 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got clear skies and 72 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A well-respected American statesman with roots in St. Louis and Webster Groves has died at age 101.
I, William H. Webster, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Judge William Webster taking the oath of office as President Ronald Reagan's CIA director in May 1987. He's being remembered as one whose troubleshooting skills and integrity helped restore public confidence in the agencies during his time spent as FBI director and later the CIA. Here's more of Webster from 1987.
There are some today who can hear my voice, but who cannot share the sunlight of this occasion because our country needs their anonymity. I simply want to salute these unseen soldiers of democracy and say that I am proud to join their team.
Former President George W. Bush said in a statement Friday night that Webster's passion for the rule of law and for the greatness of America made him a model public servant. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
The response for applying for help through the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA, has been so high, apparently, that the Department of Justice website can't handle the traffic. But Just Moms STL has another way for you to apply.
They have put the PDF on their RECA website, which you are able to fill out and print out, then mail it to the DOJ. Right now, they do not have a portal online, so printing and filling it out and then mailing it in is the only way to get the process going. There is no indication when DOJ's website will be able to accommodate the number of people applying for RICA assistance. So in the meantime, you can go to RICA-Missouri, that's spelled out Missouri-resources.org to print out that PDF. The application also contains the specific documents that you will need to be able to qualify, along with a phone number for the Department of Justice if you have questions. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
St. Louis City Sheriff Alfred Montgomery might sue if the Board of Aldermen give him what his attorney calls an unfunded mandate.
The board recently passed a bill out of committee codifying the sheriff's responsibilities, which includes transporting detainees in need of medical care. While the board insists this has always been the responsibility of the sheriff, Montgomery and his legal staff say otherwise. Montgomery's attorney, former Judge David Mason, tells KMOX they will look into legal action if the full board passes this bill.
If the bill proceeds, then we'll have to take a serious look at asking a court to determine whether or not it's a legal transfer of duties. Can it be done legally?
Mason argues the board cannot legally give the sheriff's department a new responsibility without funding it. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A family is asking for help paying funeral expenses for a woman shot outside a North St. Louis gas station. 47-year-old Taisha McDowell was shot July 31st at the Conoco on Natural Bridge Road. She died days later from her injuries. Here's police spokesman Mitch McCoy.
Our homicide detectives continue to work all leads in this case. We have determined that the victim was killed in crossfire while attempting to flee the shooting.
Taisha's family has set up a GoFundMe to cover those funeral costs. It's called Support for the McDowell Family.
Federal investigators on the ground in Alton Saturday examining the scene of Thursday's fatal helicopter crash. The NTSB says the chopper snagged on power lines and crashed into a barge on the Mississippi River. Friday, St. Charles County officials identified the two victims as 35-year-old Nicholas Fulton of Salem, Missouri, and 37-year-old Michael Curry of Ashley, Illinois. The NTSB's on-site work was expected to be wrapped up by Saturday.
St. Louis City firefighters performed some water rescue Sunday afternoon following those heavy rains.
Tucker and Biddle, we had multiple vehicles stuck in about 2 to 3 feet of water. We rescued 4 individuals from that scene. Jefferson and Cass, around the NGA, we had a vehicle that saw the water and did a good job of not going through the water, but tried driving around it and got stuck in the mud.
Fire Department Captain Garen Mosby says there were also some clogged drains on highways that led to localized flash flooding in parts of the city. No injuries were reported.
Missouri's quest to keep the Royals and Chiefs in the Show Me State will head to court. St. Genevieve State Representative Brian Wolfen, one of 2 lawmakers suing the state, says the legislature passed a stadium funding bill that is unconstitutional because it gives public aid to private interests.
When we pass laws for a very select few organizations, such as the Royals, the Chiefs, and potentially the Cardinals, we are not making government be neutral, and we are not affording the equal opportunity under the law.
Governor Mike Kehoe called on lawmakers to pass the special session bill that would provide up to $1.5 billion in state tax funding for stadium improvements. It would essentially let the teams keep the sales taxes generated at the stadiums on tickets, merchandise, food, and team salaries, and put their own sales tax revenue towards paying the bonds.
I'm Scott Jagow. With recent mass shootings and gun violence everywhere, what happened to the conversation about gun control? I'll ask Hancock and Kelly.
That's coming up after we check traffic and weather. It's 6:08.
Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank and Building Community. We are proud to recognize Doorways as a building community partner. Doorways helps those who are invisible and ignored by society, people navigating poverty, homelessness, and serious illnesses like HIV. While HIV has become treatable, the number of cases continues to rise in the disenfranchised community. Building community means nobody should be invisible. Learn more about Doorways at doorwayshousing.org.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. I'm so proud to recognize Doorways, the only agency in the region dedicated to providing housing to individuals living with HIV and their family members. Doorways sees to it that clients receive on-site services to manage their lives, opening doorways to independence and opportunity. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Hey, it's 6:10. Roger Brand's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, pretty much everything going on is happening on the Illinois side right now, Tom. I mean, highways are generally quiet. There isn't really anything big causing any serious delays. But we do have an overturned semi that occurred a couple hours ago. It's on the ramp from westbound 70 to southbound 55 on the shoulder of the ramp, so it's not blocking anything. The only delays I see are the Cloverleaf ramp, southbound 55 to eastbound 70 is a little slow. Maybe they're just getting a look at it, not sure. But traffic's getting through just fine. 25th Street, the exits off 64, 25th Street under 64, reportedly still flooded from last night's rains, so the exits are closed on 64 at 25th Street, not impacting 64 itself. And then don't forget this morning at 7 a.m., we're going to have a restriction each direction, 55, 78 exchange. They're going to have a lane closed. That'll be for the next 2 weeks. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, sun mixing with clouds today. There'll be a thunderstorm in a couple of spots with a high around 90. Patchy clouds tonight, warm and humid with a low of 75. A thunderstorm in spots tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon. Clouds, sun, and humid otherwise, high 91. Partly sunny and humid Wednesday. An afternoon thunderstorm can't be ruled out, mainly south of the city, high 89. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now it is clear and 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now, so what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It's 6:12. Despite consistent gun violence and widespread mass shootings, not much is happening politically with gun control.
KMOX Democratic analyst Michael Kelly says the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in 2012 should have been a watershed moment for gun laws, but he says nothing's happened since, largely due to Republicans not wanting any change. He also blames social media for desensitizing people and a culture of extremism and mental instability.
The gun is a reflex now. People grab their gun as a reflex. And I don't know if it's too late to go back and fix some of this, but it's not going to happen while the Republicans are in charge. They've made that clear when those kids got killed.
Republican analyst John Hancock says it would help if guns were kept out of certain people's hands. Teenagers, people with a history of mental illness.
There is a fundamental right in this country to keep and bear arms, but it doesn't mean that there can be no limitations on that right. And I think maybe if you start the conversation there, we can have one.
Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
Former U.S. Representative Billy Long of Missouri has been removed as the commissioner of the IRS just 2 months after his confirmation. President Trump dismissed him from that role, though the reasons remain unclear. Long's exit makes him the shortest tenured IRS commissioner in the position's history. Meanwhile, Long announced on social media he's been nominated as ambassador to Iceland.
Reports indicate former St. Louis Fed President James Bullard is on the president's mind to be named chairman of the Federal Reserve. CNBC senior reporter Steve Leisman.
Jim Bullard has been hawkish during the pandemic, though. He did turn and see the need for rate cuts. So I'm not sure he's dyed in the wool on that score.
Others reportedly on the short list include former Bush advisor Mark Summerlin and Fed Governor Christopher Waller. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is interviewing candidates and making a short list.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says when it comes to running for office, it doesn't matter how much money you are worth. It matters what your values are.
I'm a Democrat because I believe that we've got to stand up for our democracy and against the MAGA Republicans who are literally trying to take away people's rights all across this country.
Pritzker responding to an NBC Meet the Press moderator's question prompted by New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, who wonders if billionaires like Pritzker should exist at all.
Illinois' top law enforcement official is stepping up the fight against illegal robocalls. Here's correspondent Rachel Pearson of WBBM.
AG Kwame Raoul, along with a bipartisan group of 50 attorneys general, launched Operation Robocall Roundup, targeting telecom companies accused of letting robocalls flood the phone lines. Warning letters are now going out to 37 voice providers accused of ignoring federal rules and failing to register plans to stop illegal calls. Another 99 downstream providers are also being told they're doing business with bad actors.
It's 6:15. It's one of those mornings where you feel like everybody should be talking about the Cardinals and the Cubs nationwide. It was a great game Sunday night football. Sometimes you look up at a show like SportsCenter and you see a lot of coverage of NFL preseason. You know, the Cardinals and the Cubs played a great game last night in St. Louis. So you turn to the right place. KMOX has the complete breakdown third inning.
Next pitch is hit high in the air to deep left center field. That's going back to the track. And it's gone! Big fly! Pedro Pajes! 2-0 Cardinals in the third inning. His 8th home run of the year into the bleachers in left field.
Cardinals have a 2-0 lead, but in the top of the 5th, an error by Nolan Gorman, a throwing error, allowed Dansby Swanson to reach first base. Wilson Contreras couldn't get the tag fast enough. Error on Gorman. Would that come back to haunt the Cardinals?
Now the pitch and a swing and a long drive to left field. That is sending Burleson back, and he jumps. It's gone. We're tied at 2. The error comes back to bite the Cardinals, and Shaw hits his 9th home run of the year, his 7th since the All-Star break.
This game was nationally televised on ESPN, and the Cardinals had some flashy national TV-like play for Mason Wynn.
Ground ball to short to his left. Dropped by Mason Wynn. Strong throw. Still got him. Boy, it's good to have a cannon like that. When you knock a ball down and from deep short, you can still get it out.
Cardinals can play some defense. Here's Swanson.
We have Sonny Gray with an 0-2 count. And there's a ground ball up the middle. And it's Mason Wynn who kicks the bag, throws to first, and he's got him. He had to avoid the runner sliding in, and a very athletic play by Mason Wynn to avoid that slide and make the throw off balance to complete the double play and end the inning.
What a player he is. He doesn't win the Gold Glove. Something's wrong. Mason Wynn has had a terrific year at shortstop. It's still a 2-2 game. We're in the 7th inning. Remember Nolan Gorman's error? Well, he's at the plate with a chance to deliver.
Jordan Walker takes his lead. Iminaga delivers to Gorman. Swing and a base hit to right field. Walker rounds third. He's headed home. Throw to the plate. Not in time. Down to second and safe is Nolan Gorman. The Cardinals take the lead. Nolan Gorman delivers in the 7th. 3-2 St. Louis.
How often do we see these two make big plays and start to show a little bit of promise? Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker combining on that run to give the Cardinals a 3-2 lead. Riley O'Brien gets 2 outs in the 8th. Jojo Romero 4 outs to complete the game, get the save. Cards win 3-2 over the Cubs. They've won back-to-back series over the Dodgers and the Cubs. We'll continue our coverage at 6:45 on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
You know, when I talk about the Missouri Athletic Club, I often discuss the events that take place there or the outstanding athletic facilities, the family-friendly MAC West, perhaps the MAC Clayton, which is underway and will be unveiled in early 2026. But for the moment, I want to discuss food because the Missouri Athletic Club has an amazing group of chefs, a great hospitality, catering for your event. But man, the restaurants are good. Let's start with downtown. The Jack Buck Grill, one of the best places to gather before and after the game. Excellent steaks and great menu, great drinks. One of the best bars right upstairs. The Sportsman's Club is an excellent place to have lunch. I do that as often as I can. The MAC West, 1903, one of the best bars in town. The Stan Musial Grill, the snack bar completely renovated by the pool. And yes, the dining options with the view of downtown from the MAC Clayton is going to be outstanding. The Missouri Athletic Club, mac-stl.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:21. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center with the latest on your ride in.
Well, it's pretty decent drive-in right now, Debbie. This traffic report service of financial and tax strategies is getting a little bit busy. Northbound 55, the right lanes north of Butler Hill, Mattis, but north of Bayless, up across River to Pear, everything looks fine. Coming in from out west, southbound 61, eastbound 70, 64 across the Missouri River bridges, everything's good to go there. Downtown across to Poplar, we're in fine shape. But don't forget, this morning in the 7 a.m. hour, not sure if it'll start exactly at 7, but they're scheduled to have a lane down each direction on 5570 through Exchange. When they do that, it's going to be out there through the 25th, so basically 2 weeks. And on the weekends, you know, like the 9 to 5 kind of a thing, Friday night through Monday morning, it's going to be down to one lane in each direction all weekend long for the next 2 weekends. So just keep that in mind. 25th Street is flooded under 64, so the exits east and westbound are closed there because of that. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Well, if you're joining us on X, Facebook, YouTube, you can see us on TV right now, doing a little show called Total Information AM. And if I move the camera, you would be able to see the Soldiers Memorial Museum and a beautiful sky behind it. It looks like a nice morning today, partly cloudy, and it's going to stay that way pretty much today. Sunshine mixing with clouds. A thunderstorm could hit us in a couple of spots. A high around 90 today, patchy clouds, warm and humid, low 75 tonight. Tomorrow, times of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in spots. Mainly in the afternoon tomorrow, humid, high 91 degrees. Currently, it's partly cloudy, 72 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:23. European nations have rallied behind Ukraine, emphasizing that peace cannot be achieved without Kyiv's involvement. This comes before a planned meeting between President Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin, not involving the president of Ukraine. Trump has said that the meeting in Alaska is to discuss ending the war, which has lasted more than 3 years.
European leaders have expressed concerns that Kyiv might be pressured into giving up land. A statement from European leaders stresses the need for a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Trump has also moved up an ultimatum to impose additional sanctions on Russia if no settlement is reached.
The Russian president met with President Barack Obama at the UN General Assembly in September of 2015. President Trump says he'll meet with Putin in Alaska this Friday, but exactly where is unknown. The Alaska Beacon reports if indeed the meeting does take place, it will be only the third presidential summit held in that state. 1984, President Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II talked together in Fairbanks. Richard Nixon met with Japanese Emperor Hirohito in Anchorage in 1972. A Trump-imposed deadline for Russia to end the war with Ukraine passed over the weekend. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte tells ABC's This Week that the meeting will test just how serious Putin is on ending the war, because there will have to be some concessions.
It will be about territory. It will be, of course, about security guarantees, but also about the absolute need to acknowledge that Ukraine decides on its own future, that Ukraine has to be a sovereign nation, deciding on its own geopolitical future.
As of the filing of this report, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky will not be part of the sit-down. But he has said, after President Trump suggested there might have to be a swapping of territories, that Ukraine will, quote, not give land to the occupier, end quote. Zelensky also thanked European leaders for their support. He posted on X Sunday, quote, I am grateful to everyone who stands with Ukraine and our people today for the sake of peace in Ukraine, end quote. Rutte told CBS's Face the Nation yesterday that he believes only President Trump can broker peace.
He basically broke the deadlock. President Trump in February is starting the dialogue with Putin. I think that was crucial.
Rutte says sanctions and America sending weapons to Ukraine are tools toward peace, or at the very least, first, a ceasefire.
Putting pressure on the Russians, exactly as President Trump has been doing over the last 6 months.
There are multiple reports that President Trump may be inviting President Zelensky to meet with him in Alaska, but whether that includes a meeting between all three, Trump, Putin, and Zelensky, also remains unclear. I'm Jim Roop.
A former Metro East congressman with a military background is skeptical about the Trump White House launching the campaign to end the war, Russia's war with Ukraine. As a guest on News Nation Sunday, Bill Enyart said he doesn't think threatened sanctions against Russia will cause an end to the hostilities.
Putin sees himself as Peter the Great. He wants to restore imperial Russia. He is building his legacy for the future.
Enyart said he'd be astonished if Putin and Zelensky get together anytime soon, and feels Ukraine is unlikely to give up any land that the Russians have illegally seized in exchange for ending the war. Meanwhile, Ukrainian soldiers on the front line say they doubt that peace talks can end the war.
Authorities have identified Patrick Joseph White, a 30-year-old Georgia man, as the shooter who opened fire at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters in Atlanta. The gunman, who was found dead with a gunshot wound, blamed the COVID-19 vaccine for making him depressed and suicidal. He shot dozens of rounds into the CDC complex, killing police officer David Rose, but was stopped by guards before he could get inside. The shooting has left CDC workers feeling shaken, and a group of laid-off employees has called for the resignation of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Hey, have you ever wondered, how do people get to throw out the first pitch at a Cardinals game? I would love to do that. Well, we have an opportunity for you to do that. It's the Shane Company first pitch opportunity. So all this week, Monday through Thursday, we'll give you the opportunity to qualify. We're going to pull the winner on Friday. So this would be a 4-pack of tickets to the August 17th Cardinals game and the first pitch, courtesy of Shane Company, and a $250 Shane Company gift card. That is quite an opportunity. So your chance, we're going to register one person this morning. And again, 4 people will register. One person will win on Friday. So your chance to get registered is coming up after Tom's next Sportscast. It is 6:28, and the time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It looks like the St. Louis housing market is bucking the trends that are nationwide, with prices dropping and inventory increasing. Prices in St. Louis are going up, inventory is tight. What does that mean for you if you're selling your home? It means that agent selection is important, and that's why you need to call Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, where you get real results. Your home sold, or she'll buy it herself. If you would like an upfront, in-writing guaranteed sale with no stress, you want to make sure that you're selling quickly and for top dollar. Maybe you're selling your home and you're planning to buy another, all great reasons to call Gloria Liu. She sells homes quickly. She closes a home sale just about every other day, unlike other agents who may average 4 or 5 sales a year. Gloria will guarantee in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. Give her a call, tell her your situation, 314-325-6888, or gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! It couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
It is 6:30 and we've got some sunshine in downtown St. Louis. It's 72 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's see if we have any Monday morning traffic. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, it's still not terrible, Tom. I mean, there's a few more folks on the roadways, but really not enough to make a difference right now. Northbound 67, a little busy at Double C, but it's still looking okay. Coming through Butler Hill, Bayless up to River to Pear in the work zone, still nothing doing there. There's a little volume north 270, slower, primarily the right lanes north of Manchester up to Ladue. Southbound, though, 270 all down Ladue looks okay. Eastbound 30, a little busy at Mauer, but again, not bad. Otherwise, southbound 61 still doing all right, coming down onto 64. 64 and 70 both look great. All the way through St. Charles County for you at this time. On the Illinois side, we're still in good shape. The exits to 25th Street, east and westbound 64 are closed because of flooding underneath the highway there. It's not impacting the highway itself. It's open. And don't forget this morning in the 7 a.m. hour, so could start in as soon as 30 minutes. They're going to have restrictions, a lane closed each direction on 5570 through Exchange. That'll be out there around the clock for the next 2 weeks. Next update at 640 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Heather Zaire says sunshine mixing with clouds, a thunderstorm in a couple of spots, high around 90. Patchy clouds, warm and humid, low 75. Tomorrow, times of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in spots, mainly in the afternoon, humid, a high of 91 degrees. Currently, it's partly cloudy, 72 downtown at the Arch.
The new comptroller is calling for an investigation into improper payments made to her predecessor.
Former Comptroller Darlene Green has been issued at least 2 paychecks in recent weeks from the city's personnel department, as if she was still employed by the city's budget department. Now, new Comptroller Donna Barringer is calling for an investigation from the Civil Service Commission into the disbursement of those checks and whether they were properly authorized or lawful. Here's Mayor Kara Spencer's reaction to checks being issued to the former Comptroller.
I believe the word I used was bonkers.
Comptroller Barringer says her office is committed to cooperating with the investigation and looks forward to a detailed report within 30 days. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The hate crime investigation continues in Clayton after 3 cars were set on fire and the anti-Semitic graffiti was found on Westmoreland Avenue.
This is Stuart McMillan.
It's simply unacceptable. This is what the Jewish community is going through. It is this bad.
Jordan Kadosh with the Anti-Defamation League in St. Louis is equating the level of anti-Semitic violence on the east and west coasts of the United States to what happened in Clayton.
We saw this in D.C., where 2 Jews were murdered at an event at a Jewish museum. We saw this in Boulder, where people were attacked in an outdoor mall while they were marching for the release of the hostages that are still being held in Gaza. And now we're seeing it here on the streets of Clayton, Missouri.
Just days before the targeted attack, 2 Clayton schools announced they would start using the ADL's anti-hate program this coming school year. It also includes mandatory anti-Semitism training for all staff.
No injuries reported from a Sunday afternoon fire in North St. Louis on Thrush near I-70.
A one-story frame. It was unoccupied. All the occupants were accounted for prior to our arrival. Substantial damage to the home. The Red Cross assisted with a displaced family of 4.
Fire Captain Garen Mosby tells KMOX the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
By the way, going back to that Clayton story, they are saying, the Clayton Police Department in a statement, they're requesting the public provide them any surveillance footage that may show that vandalism. They're asking residents on or near the 7500 block of Westmoreland Avenue to check any ring or surveillance cameras between 1 and 5 a.m. on the morning of August 5th. News sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your money report next.
If you or someone you know suffered any injuries involving a deployed airbag, you could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan has already recovered millions. Get America's largest injury law firm fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
It is 6:36, and it's time for us to get you updated on your money report, sponsored for you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. Federal Reserve Board Governor Michelle Bowman says that due to recent weak job market data, she'd like to see 3 rate cuts before the end of the year. Bowman spoke at a weekend banking conference in Washington. Target may not have expected the results they got after the retailer did a company-wide survey. Almost half of its employees indicated they didn't have faith in the company's future. The Wall Street Journal reports that Target's chief commercial officer issued an internal video last week acknowledging the survey and said it showed the company has to do a better job of empowering its employees to do their best work. Bloomberg tech writer Mark Gurman says Apple's delayed rollout of new Siri capabilities will be well worth the wait. Gurman says Apple is working on a feature where you'll be able to do things like tell Siri to find a specific photo, edit it, and then send it to someone. Or you could have Siri comment on an Instagram post or log into a website without actually touching the screen. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Dan Schwartzman on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Today is the day, if you are a member of Book Chat with Debbie Monterrey and St. Louis Public Library on Facebook, which I hope you are. We're over 1,200 members strong. It's our author chat today, and it's a big one. It's at 10:30 this morning. Karen Slaughter is our author guest. Karen Slaughter, of course, has sold millions and millions of books. The Will Trent series, which became a series on, let's see, is it on Hulu? Anyway, she's a big deal. She's got a brand new book out, and we're going to talk to her about that and so much more. But you have to be a member of Book Chat in order to get in on the interview. So just do that now. Also, if you're looking for any kind of reading materials, you don't even have to leave your home. They really beefed up their digital library during the pandemic, and so you can do so much just from your phone or your laptop. If you have a budding filmmaker in your family, St. Louis Public Library Film Festival is back for its 2nd year, and submissions are open right now through October 31st. So get in on that as well. SLPL.org has all the information for how to submit your film. There's always something happening at St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine, SLPL.org.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We'll have a few things to talk about as the Cardinals have made things a little more interesting in the National League after beating the Dodgers and the Cubs in back-to-back series. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, heading out the door on this Monday morning time, it's not bad. It's getting a little busier, of course. North 270 is the busiest stretch I'm looking at so far. This traffic reports the service of Metro Transit. We have delays, at least slow going in North 270, approaching Manchester all the way up through 64. You know, it's 3 narrow lanes in that work zone between 64 and Ladue, so it's bogged down northbound all the way through there right now. Northbound 55 is busy in spots. North of Bayless up to about Virginia, that's slow as well, but it's not as congested as North 270 is, but that's the only other interstate delay. Southbound 61, eastbound 70, 64 coming in from Wentzville, fine, and downtown still clear westbound across the Poplar. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Get a Metro Transit $5 day pass from Metro St. Louis and go anywhere Metro goes, no matter how far or how long, all day long. Super chill, clean, safe, and reliable, not to mention AC and free Wi-Fi. Go to metrostl.org to get your pass today.
It is 6:41. Let's check in right now with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Heather Zare. After some downpours yesterday, I'm seeing some sunshine this morning.
Yeah, we're definitely off to a pretty good start across the area here for today. And overall, it's really not going to be a bad day. We're looking at sunshine and some clouds with a high right around 90 degrees. Kind of a lot of clouds around right at the moment, but more in the way of sunshine is going to return. We also have thunderstorm chances. Now, we've had some thunderstorms that have been passing north of the city here during the early morning hours, and we can see a thunderstorm around at just about any time today, although I think that most of the activity is still going to be north of the city for most of the day. 90 will be the high this afternoon. We head down to 75 with patchy clouds tonight, so it's a warm and humid night. And then we stay hot and humid with a high of 91 tomorrow. We'll have some sunshine and a thunderstorm chance again, though the best chance is in the afternoon. Heading into Wednesday, an afternoon thunderstorm can't be ruled out, mostly south of the city. Overall, though, it's going to be a partly sunny, humid day with a high of 89. We'll top out at 91 71 and likely stay dry on Thursday with clouds and sun. And then the heat starts to ramp up on Friday. Partly sunny, hot and humid with a high of 95. Right now, 71 in St. Peter's, 73 in Florissant, and 74 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:43. One lucky dog could be headed for Hollywood. CBS's Michael Toscano tells us a promotion for the new Air Bud movies involves a search to find its new star.
You may fondly remember all those Air Bud movies starting in 1997.
Hey, boy. You like basketball?
Ain't no rules to the dog can't play basketball.
Well, the film's producers are looking for the next golden retriever to star as the basketball-playing Air Bud in the upcoming Air Bud Returns, due out next summer.
No way.
We need a dog who is a purebred golden retriever, who's athletic, and ideally, he would love basketball.
If you think your furry friend is star material, go to airbud.com and let them know. And if it all works out, get ready for the paparazzi. Michael Toscano, CBS News.
The new horror movie Weapons is drawing big crowds, topping the charts this weekend, and a lot of people are probably getting the shivers as they watch its story unfold. It's about a bunch of kids who suddenly leave their homes in the middle of the night and then simply vanish.
Those kids walked out of those homes. No one pulled them out.
There's something very wrong going on.
What do you see that I don't?
Weapons is actually doing much better than expected and should end its first weekend with more than $42 million in ticket sales. A lot of movie industry folks had thought it might get beaten by the new body-swapping sequel, Freakier Friday, but the Freaky Friday sequel will have to settle for second with $29 million, followed by Fantastic Four, First Steps, The Bad Guys 2, and The Naked Gun.
The Enjoy Illinois 300 NASCAR race less than a month away. This year's Grand Marshal will be legendary actor Bill Murray. Murray will kick off the race with the traditional drivers start your engines. Before that, he'll perform with his blues rock band. Did you know he had a band?
Mm-hmm.
Bill Murray and his blood brothers at the Midway stage.
I think he was at the pageant playing with them.
That's right.
He didn't do much performing. He just kind of wandered around the stage, but the band's really good.
Well, he's a Chicago guy, so it makes sense. The Enjoy Illinois 300, that race takes place at 2 p.m. Sunday, September 7th at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Last night at Busch Stadium, Nolan Gorman made an error that ended up leading to a 2-run homer that gave the Cubs a 2-2 game and an opportunity to turn it around. Well, it was Gorman who turned it around because he came back into the spotlight in the 7th with Jordan Walker on base.
Iminaga delivers to Gorman, swing and a base hit to right field. Walker rounds third, he's headed home, throw to the plate, not in time. Down to second and safe is Nolan Gorman. The Cardinals take the lead. Nolan Gorman delivers in the 7th. 3-2 St. Louis.
That was after Sonny Gray went 7 innings and pitched very well. Gray gave up 2 runs, just 1 earned because of the Gorman error. 5 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts for Gray, who set up the Cardinals bullpen, who had a lead to work with. In the 8th inning, Riley O'Brien got 2 outs.
The game is at the plate. Former Cardinal Carson Kelly, 31 years old, from Portland, Oregon. From the stretch on 3-2, Tucker takes off the pitch, grounded to the shortstop. Wynn throws him out. The Cubs strand 2.
That was the first out recorded in the 8th by JoJo Romero. He got that final out, and then he worked 3 more outs in the 9th inning. Here's one of them.
It's John Birdie with very good speed. He's going. The pitch taken for a ball. The throw to second. The tag. Out at second base. Out. Birdie is thrown out. And the Cubs are down to their last out.
One more chance for them.
Well, the runners lead at first and second for Chicago. The 1-1 pitch here for Shaw. Swing and a ground ball right to Sajasi. He steps on second. That's a Redbird winner. And a series win over the Chicago Cubs. Light it up in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, winning a 1-run game tonight, 3-2.
As they did at Dodger Stadium, taking 2 out of 3. The Cardinals return home and take 2 out of 3 from Chicago, and they sit currently 3.5 games out of the final wildcard spot in the National League. Most importantly, their bullpen starting to show some strength there. Who's hot, who's not. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Cardinals and Rockies tonight. We'll have it for you right here with a 6:45 first pitch for Miles Michaelis. He's got to find a way to go deeper into the game and save this bullpen. The Cardinals are heating up, and who's hot, who's not, always brought to you by St. Louis Composting. Even with this weather that's been hot all summer, if you go to stlcompost.com, you can make that garden, that lawn, and surrounding it with mulch and compost and soil look so much better. STLcompost.com is all you have to do. STLcompost.com. St. Louis Composting is the best in St. Louis when it comes to compost, soil, and mulch. They have 9 locations in St. Louis where you can just pull up a truck or trailer and they'll load you up. Or if you just need a few bags, they can do that. Or if you can do like we did, I think it works really well. Just go to stlcompost.com and they'll deliver it to you. You can order online, compost, mulch, soil, bagged products, and they do organic recycling as well. stlcompost.com. This Simon Cancer Center spotlight how innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Dr. John DePercio.
Patients have come here from all over the United States and, in fact, all over the world to get evaluated and treated for this treatment. We hope that this can be continued, that we demonstrate in a clinical trial that it's safe and effective, and that ultimately it will be approved by the FDA so it's available to everyone in the world.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville, Thursday, August 14th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or a picture with City SC left back Jay Reed. Register to win great prizes, enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Wentzville, the place to be Thursday, August 14th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
All right, we have your opportunity to be our daily qualifier for the Shane Company first pitch opportunity. So we will take caller number 5 right now, and you qualify for the grand prize. We'll have 4 people ultimately this week who will be in the running. We'll draw the winner on Friday. So if you are caller number 5 right now, you are in the running for a 4-pack of tickets to the August 17th game, throwing out the first pitch and getting a $250 Shane Company gift card. Caller number 5 right now at 314-955-1120, 314-955-1120. Good luck.
Roger Brand, you are not eligible for those, unfortunately. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Oh, that's okay. I'm okay. Well, that's good to give somebody else a chance to enjoy something like that. That's for sure. If you're on the highways, it's enjoyable unless you're on North 270 right now. This traffic reports the service of Pine Valley Assisted Living of Arnold. That's we have restrictions 270 at Ladue. It's down to 3 narrow lanes each way, and it's bogged down North 270 from Big Bend all the way up into that area now. Very busy on that stretch. Northbound 55 not as bad. It is slow from about Bayless up to Weber. It opens up as you get across River to Pear. Also seeing some slow going now eastbound 70, Earth City into 270. Sun's getting in your eyes there. Downtown, roadwork doesn't seem to be bothering anybody, but the right lane is closed eastbound 64 as you get past Union Station. But like I said, right now, things are okay there. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Join Pine Valley Assisted Living of Arnold for a free movie day to see Freakier Friday on August 20th at 10 a.m. at the Arnold Cinema, which includes soda and popcorn. RSVP to Lisa Brennan, 314-283-5669.
Weather forecast from AccuWeather's Heather Zaire. Sunshine mixing with clouds. Thunderstorm in a couple of spots. High around 90. Patchy clouds, warm and humid tonight. Low 75. Tomorrow, times of clouds and sun. A thunderstorm in spots, mainly in the afternoon. Humid, a high of 91. And pretty much the same for Wednesday with a chance of a thunderstorm. Otherwise, sunny and humid and a high of 89. Currently, we have a partly cloudy sky downtown. It's 72 degrees.
Time for us to check in with our CBS News business analyst, Jill Schlesinger. And Jill, I think for a lot of us who aren't really into investing as many others are. A 401k seems like a not very risky and an easier way for us to invest. But President Trump signed an executive order that would allow riskier assets to be included. What do you think about risky assets in our 401ks?
You know, it's funny. We already have risky assets in there, but you're absolutely right. We sort of look at it as like, oh, it's my retirement account. It's kind of my boring plod along. Every page period, I get some money taken out. It goes into some stuff. But, you know, the stuff like a stock mutual fund or an exchange traded fund inside of your plan, that, of course, we know that moves around. But what if you had the ability to buy, say, crypto in your retirement account? Would you? I mean, look, I'm a self-proclaimed wimp when it comes to investing. I did my first crypto story. This is like the shame of it all. My first crypto story for CBS was when Bitcoin went above 1,000. It's trading at 120,000. You don't think I look back and say, oh, I wish I bought a little crypto, but that's not my jam. I'm not risky. I don't do new stuff. I'm very boring. But if you had the ability to buy some risky stuff inside your retirement plan, the real question is, should you? And the answer is it really depends on who you are. So you tell me, how would you feel about that? Would you put a little nibble in there? What do you think?
I'm kind of with you on the crypto thing. So I don't know.
Be right.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm not that person, I guess.
Yeah, I'd have.
But you know, if you
I'd have a little
were
struggle
that
with
person, are you okay? Would you do that?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. So let's talk to the people who are more lured by that. Right? I mean, crypto's up 30% this year. It's up a bazillion percent since my first story I did when it crossed 1,000. So if you wanted to do something really risky inside your retirement account, like buy some crypto and this is not available yet. So this is all sort of behind the scenes. The Trump administration is trying to make it easier to do this. But, you know, if you were able to, I would say, look, it's the same way I feel about company stock. You know, I could look at a time when CBS was going through the roof and people were putting all their money in the CBS stock. And then it came cratering down and people were freaking out. And I said, well, what did you think? You put like 40% of your retirement account in that single stock. So if you've got something really risky, one way to kind of limit the damage if something happened on the way down would be to just keep, say, 5, maybe 10%. That's it. Really boring, right? And if you do that, if it goes down, you're not saying, oh my God, my whole retirement is at risk. And if it goes up, you're participating. But it's very difficult to assess risk when things are good. So, you know, listen, maybe it's because, you know, I feel like I'm a seasoned investor. My dad was a trader on Wall Street, you know, low level dude many years ago. And I said, what does it mean to be a seasoned investor, Dad? And he goes, oh, well, you know how they season a piece of meat? You take like this wooden mallet and you bash it. He goes, that's a seasoned investor. You have to be bashed a few times to realize risk exists and it hurts and you don't like it. And so I think that if you are starting out and you've never experienced downside, like you've never hurt, then you have to be very careful about what you're doing inside that retirement account.
Be consistent and let time work for you. That is well said. And JillOnMoney.com. Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst. Have a great week.
Take care.
It's 6:56.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Marion Sayer. Happy 86th Kay Ernst of Belleville. Phyllis Golick Herring. Happy 97th Dolores Mueller from her survivors group. Shirley Geiger. Kate Foley Hamilton. Eddie Hebron. Valerie Shremhan. Bill Streeter. Also Devin Michael Dunn from Aunt Patty, Jenna, and Jada. And happy birthday to Bob Adams from your wife of 64 years, Lois.
This is the best birthday ever.
McKelvey Homes, McKelveyHomes.com. They're 127 years old, and they are Missouri's oldest and most respected name in home building. A long-standing tradition of quality craftsmanship and exceptional value committed to the highest standards of excellence. They have had so many people write in testimonials to tell about the experience. This is one from Tim Thompson and Michelle Nelson, who said neither Michelle nor I had ever had a home built before, so we were excited, but we also felt a little out of our depth. But there was no need for any anxiety because everyone we dealt with at McKelvey was straightforward, quick to answer our questions, and good at what they do. Whether you're having a home built, there are many moving pieces, and McKelvey helps you through all of those, through every process, helping with all of the decisions, from what to design, all the features, flooring, appliances, etc. They always make customers feel very well taken care of. Tim and Michelle said maybe the best thing we can say is that we felt like we were the only customers McKelvey had. McKelveyhomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump is expected to speak in a couple of hours after he temporarily reassigned 120 FBI agents in the name of making the nation's capital safer at night. He's also warned homeless people to leave immediately. Correspondent Scott McFarland from Washington.
Agents from the Washington field office of the FBI are now among the federal law enforcement visibly out on the streets as part of the president's initiative that he says would make D.C. safer, alleging the city is too crime-ridden. Local leaders say crime is down 35% in the nation's capital over the past year, so are violent crimes, and that this is political.
Mr. Trump's looking ahead to Friday's meeting with Vladimir Putin in Alaska to discuss a potential ceasefire in Ukraine.
We're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
Correspondent Weijia Jiang is at the White House.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky declared Ukrainians will not gift their land to the occupier. And several European leaders said in a joint statement, we remain committed to the principle that international borders must not be changed by force.
Zelensky has not been invited to Friday's meeting. Israel's taken responsibility for a deadly attack on journalists in Gaza. It claims one was a Hamas operative. CBS's Deborah Patta reports from East Jerusalem.
An Al Jazeera crew, including correspondent Anas al-Sharif, was targeted in an Israeli strike in Gaza City. The IDF claims Sharif was the head of a Hamas cell, but just over 2 weeks ago, the New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists said it was gravely worried for his safety. They believed Sharif was the target of an Israeli military smear campaign based on unsubstantiated allegations.
The Trump administration will reportedly get a slice of sales from artificial intelligence chips.
The government will take a 15% cut of the money NVIDIA and AMD make, selling their AI chips to China. According to multiple reports, the deal would be a prerequisite for granting them export licenses to sell in that country.
CBS's Stacey Lynn. There's more heavy rain and flash flooding in the forecast today for parts of the Midwest that got more than a foot of rain over the weekend. Hardest hit Milwaukee. Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
This flooding event, it's very significant. It's something that Milwaukee hasn't seen in perhaps a decade or more.
At least 37 major wildfires are burning in 9 states. Firefighters in Southern California say a wildfire near Castaic at the LA Ventura County line is now 78% contained. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, hello. Listen to my voice talking to you about the new Old Spice NFL collection at Walmart. Now listen to my smell. I smell like NFL stars Jared Goff, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley, CJ Stroud, and George Kittle. I smell like greatness. Why? Because I'm wearing Old Spice's new NFL collection. How can you put the greatness of the NFL into a smell, you ask? You can't. But Old Spice can. And they did. Smell like Suntal and Speed, Driftwood and Drive, Sea Ties and Toughness with the Old Spice NFL collection available at Walmart. Smell like the greatest smell in the NFL with Old Spice.
Man, look at that Return of the Old King, man. Oh, wow. Emotional.
King of the Hill is back.
They got a Bob's in the airport now. Oh, that's Boba.
World has changed, Dad.
Bobby wants to bring that new girl over for dinner.
The Vegas? What the hell am I supposed to feed her?
Can't we just put some grass in a bowl?
From Mike Judge and Greg Daniels.
Ready to make some memories, Dad?
Let's freaking go.
A Hulu original series, King of the Hill. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
Ford CEO is trumpeting a Model T.
It is 7:04, and right now we've got sunshine, 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman, leading our newscast this morning. The Department of Justice's website setup for people to apply for the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA, is not able to accommodate all the requests. But the group Just Moms STL has another way of filing your claim.
And you do that by going to RECA-Missouri, the word Missouri spelled out, -resources.org. That is what Just Moms has set up. The PDF can be found there and downloaded. You can then print it out, fill out, and mail it to the Department of Justice, who is administering the RECA program. That address to mail in the application is listed in several places and will also be listed in the comments. The application will contain the specific documents that you will need to be able to qualify, along with a phone number for the Department of Justice if you have questions. Right now, it is not known when DOJ's website will be able to handle the traffic from people applying for RECA assistance. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
St. Louis City Sheriff Alfred Montgomery might sue if the Board of Aldermen give him what his attorney calls an unfunded mandate.
The board recently passed a bill out of committee codifying the sheriff's responsibilities, which includes transporting detainees in need of medical care. While the board insists this has always been the responsibility of the sheriff, Montgomery and his legal staff say otherwise. Montgomery's attorney, former Judge David Mason, tells KMOX they will look into legal action if the full board passes this bill.
If the bill proceeds, then we'll have to take a serious look at asking a court to determine whether or not it's a legal transfer of duties. Can it be done legally?
Mason argues the board cannot legally give the sheriff's department a new responsibility without funding it. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
After silence for days, the St. Louis City Director of Personnel weighs in on the checks mistakenly cut for the former comptroller. In a statement, Director John Unnerstall says the checks were cut as a result of human error. He goes on to blame a combination of his staff believing Darlene Green needed to be paid out for leave accrued prior to being appointed, and confusion between paper and digital employment records that date back to when the city switched their personnel management system in 2023. Unnerstall called the situation unique, saying he takes full responsibility and has taken steps to ensure the same mistake isn't made again. Current Comptroller Donna Behringer called for the Civil Service Commission to open an investigation.
St. Louis City firefighters had to perform water rescue Sunday afternoon following heavy rains.
Tucker and Biddle, we had multiple vehicles stuck in about 2 to 3 feet of water. We rescued 4 individuals from that scene. Jefferson and Cass, around the NGA, we had a vehicle that saw the water and did a good job of not going through the water, but tried driving around it and got stuck in the mud.
Fire Department Captain Garen Mosby says there were also clogged drains on highways that led to localized flash flooding in parts of the city. No injuries were reported.
Federal investigators on the ground in Alton Saturday examined the scene of Thursday's fatal helicopter crash. The NTSB says the chopper snagged on power lines and crashed into a barge on the Mississippi River. Friday, St. Charles County officials identified the two victims as 35-year-old Nicholas Fulton of Salem, Missouri, and 37-year-old Michael Curry of Ashley, Illinois. The NTSB's on-site work was expected to be wrapped up by Saturday.
It is 7:08, and we'll take a quick break here, get you traffic and weather as Total Information AM continues.
Like I said before, tariffs had absolutely zero effect on our equipment pricing. No manufacturer raised their prices. What has affected the pricing is the previous 4 years of these ridiculous mandates. I mean, I say ridiculous, it's shameful. But that being said, if you're told that you need a new system, or your air conditioner is bad, or you're looking to replace your system, if you want a common sense approach which works for you, your family, and your budget. When I say your budget, it never is what you want it to be on this equipment, but common sense approach, 15-20 minutes of your time, and explain to you your options. No Kool-Aid being handed out. I'm Bart Inman. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I. The easiest way to get a hold of me with the easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, there's only one. 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. Fantastic deal. God bless.
Don't miss the return of La Cage à Falls, last seen at the Muni nearly 40 years ago. This show is Harvey Fierstein and Jeremy Herman's hilarious romp about complicated family dynamics. You are going to love it. I'll meet you at the Muni.
The hilarious musical that inspired The Birdcage returns to the Muni. Don't miss the fabulous La Cage à Falls, August 8th through 14th, sponsored by the Steinberg Family Foundation. For tickets, visit muni.org.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live, it's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News & World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming charity golf tournament benefiting the VFW National Home. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 7:10. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center with the latest.
Well, Tom, they just cleared MoDOT says it's a crash. I couldn't tell because it was in the middle of all that jam traffic, but this cleared an incident to the shoulder on northbound 270 right at the Clayton Road overpass. So it looks like all lanes are open now, but it was out there blocking for a little bit of time. I was talking about the heavier volume on North 270, and it's definitely slow at Big Bend and Jam from Doherty Ferry all the way up to the Clayton Road overpass. Again, it looks like it's all been cleared to the shoulder now, but pretty significant backup there on northbound 270. Eastbound 64 coming out of Wentzville, southbound 61, they both look great. Eastbound 70 in St. Charles County looks fine. It is a little slow, though, Earth City into 270 right now. Northbound 55 for the time being, getting a break between Bayless and River de Pere. Downtown, we look okay. Those emergency repairs are scheduled to start. A lane closed each direction on 55-78 Exchange this hour. It'll last for the next 2 weeks at that location, but right now clear through there, and it's clear across the Poplar. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A thunderstorm in a couple of spots today. It'll be sunny to partly cloudy with a high around 90, then warm and humid with patchy clouds and a low of 75 tonight. We'll have intervals of clouds and sunshine tomorrow. A thunderstorm in some places, mainly in the afternoon. Humid with a high of 91. Partly sunny and humid on Wednesday. We can't rule out an afternoon thunderstorm, mostly south of the city, high 89. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got clouds that have moved into downtown St. Louis at 73 degrees.
It's 7:12. European nations have rallied behind Ukraine, emphasizing that peace cannot be achieved without Kyiv's involvement. This comes before a planned meeting between President Donald Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin. Trump has said the meeting in Alaska is to discuss ending the war, which has lasted over 3 years.
European leaders expressing concerns that Kyiv might be pressured into giving up land. A statement from European leaders stressing the need for a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Trump is moving up an ultimatum to impose additional sanctions on Russia if no settlement is reached.
The Russian president met with President Barack Obama at the UN General Assembly in September of 2015. President Trump says he'll meet with Putin in Alaska this Friday, but exactly where is unknown. The Alaska Beacon reports if indeed the meeting does take place, it will be only the third presidential summit held in that state. 1984, President Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II talked together in Fairbanks. Richard Nixon met with Japanese Emperor Hirohito in Anchorage in 1972. A Trump-imposed deadline for Russia to end the war with Ukraine passed over the weekend. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte tells ABC's This Week that the meeting will test just how serious Putin is on ending the war, because there will have to be some concessions.
It will be about territory. It will be, of course, about security guarantees, but also about the absolute need to acknowledge that Ukraine decides on its own future, that Ukraine has to be a sovereign nation, deciding on its own geopolitical future.
As of the filing of this report, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky will not be part of the sit-down. But he has said, after President Trump suggested there might have to be a swapping of territories, that Ukraine will, quote, not give land to the occupier, end quote. Zelensky also thanked European leaders for their support. He posted on X Sunday, quote, I am grateful to everyone who stands with Ukraine and our people today for the sake of peace in Ukraine, end quote. Rutte told CBS's Face the Nation yesterday that he believes only President Trump can broker peace.
He basically broke the deadlock, President Trump, in February, starting the dialogue with Putin. I think that was crucial.
Rutte says sanctions and America sending weapons to Ukraine are tools toward peace, or at the very least, first, a ceasefire.
Putting pressure on the Russians, exactly as President Trump has been doing over the last 6 months.
There are multiple reports that President Trump may be inviting President Zelensky to meet with him in Alaska, but whether that includes a meeting between all three, Trump, Putin, and Zelensky, also remains unclear. I'm Jim Roop.
A former Metro East congressman with a military background is skeptical about the Trump White House launching a campaign to end Russia's war with Ukraine. As a guest on News Nation Sunday, Bill Enyart says he doesn't think threatened sanctions against Russia will cause an end to the hostilities.
Putin sees himself as Peter the Great. He wants to restore imperial Russia. He is building his legacy for the future.
Enyart said he'd be astonished if Putin and Zelensky got together anytime soon, and he feels Ukraine is unlikely to give up any land the Russians have illegally seized in exchange for ending the war. It's 7:15.
With Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney. The Cardinals won 2 out of 3 over the Cubs, beating them 3-2 in the Sunday night game of the world. The win to Sonny Gray, the loss to Shota Imanaga. And the Cardinals got a 2-run homer from Pedro Pages. And then this, as Jordan Walker got to second with a steal, Nolan Gorman came up big.
Jordan Walker takes his lead. Imanaga delivers to Gorman, swing, and a base hit to right field. Walker rounds third, he's headed home. Throw to the plate, not in time. Down to second and safe is Nolan Gorman. The Cardinals take the lead. Nolan Gorman delivers in the 7th.
Well, the rain delay didn't hurt the Cardinals as they were able to prevail 3-2. Some action in the 9th inning, but Sonny Gray picked up the victory. Jojo Romero the save. Terrific game. The Cardinals made their hits count.
The Cardinals welcome in the Colorado Rockies. That's coming up tonight. Airtime will be 5:50.
Our player of the game this evening, the big home run, picked off a runner, threw out a runner, trying to steal second in the 9th inning. Pedro Pages, you had some sort of night.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Talk a little bit about your pitching tonight, because you guys, once again, you and Sonny were on par, and then the bullpen, they fell right in the line as well.
Yeah, man, it just all started from pitch one. Sonny was ready to go. He mixed well, and he attacked, and then the bullpen came in and did the job, and it was a great game all around.
Your home run was huge. I mean, the Cardinals have been playing from behind quite a bit. You get out on top with the 2-0 lead courtesy of the home run.
Yeah, man, just trying to put a good swing out there. Finally hit his splitter. He's been getting me all year with that, so, I'm finally happy I got that one. And just got to keep competing, man. That's the biggest thing with me right now, so I just want to keep competing and have good at-bats.
Talk about the pickoff play.
Man, it was Descalso called it. It was a perfect time. He was feeling himself out there, and I think it was a perfect time to call it, and we were able to move it and got him.
And then also throwing out the runner in the ninth inning. When there's ever a replay involved, everybody has to hold their breath, and I can see you kind of holding your breath. But did you think you had him?
It was close. I don't know. It was a close video. They showed the video up there, and it was very close. Thankfully, it stayed our way, and I was able to get him right there.
How big was it to win this series, taking 2 out of 3 against Chicago?
Huge, man. We're just going to keep playing good baseball, just take care of our business, and then just keep going from there, see where we're at the end of the year.
Let's go get Colorado tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, nice work.
Thank you.
All right, Pedro Pages is our player of the game.
Thank you, Mike Claiborne. The wild card standings getting a little interesting in the National League with the leaders right now, the Cubs, Padres, and Mets. But the Mets are struggling. They've opened the door to the Reds, just a game and a half out of that final spot. The Cardinals are a game over 500 and 3.5 games out of the final wild card spot in the National League. Your leaders in the National League are the Brewers, the Phillies, and the Dodgers. The Brewers have opened up a 6-game lead on the Cubs in the division. They've won 9 in a row. Phillies up 5.5 on the Mets now, and the Dodgers just 2-game lead on the Padres in the West. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Player to Bank On was brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Invested in you.
104.1 FM, KMOX. News, talk, sports.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 323232. That's GONE to 323232. GONE to 323232.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:20 and time for another check of traffic and weather. Roger Brand is joining us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center with the latest.
Well, it's still out there on the shoulder, Debbie, with a minor crash they cleared about 10, 15 minutes ago, northbound 270 at the Clayton Road overpass. So everybody's gawking on the way by. So right now what we're looking at is North 270 is backed up just north of 44, pretty solid up through Doherty Ferry, and then it's slow from there up through Clayton Road, and it goes up into the work zone at Ladue. Of course, it's restricted in both directions there. And South 270, just south of Olive down to Ladue, starting to see some volume there as well. Eastbound 64, just a little slow approaching the work zone at Research Park. Eastbound 70 looks good coming out of the Wentzville area all the way across the Missouri River Bridge. Northbound 55, just north of the Union Road overpass up through Weber. That's kind of slow. Road work downtown wasn't slowing you down. Eastbound 64 past 22nd Street, I guess, is where they're working. And they're supposed to be doing emergency repair work on 5570. Both directions have a lane down around Exchange. Right now, I don't see any delays there, and it still looks great across both the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, one of the things that the thunderstorms did yesterday was really cool things off. It was a nice night last night. We're going to get warm today. Sunshine will mix with clouds, a thunderstorm in a couple of spots, a high around 90 degrees today. Patchy clouds, it'll be warm tonight and humid, a low of 75. Tomorrow, times of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in spots, mainly in the afternoon. It'll be humid tomorrow with a high of 91 degrees. Currently, partly cloudy, 73 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Spire, your natural gas provider. Spire has a fresh new look coming your way. They're updating their envelope color from orange to white in August. Be on the lookout for your Spire natural gas bill arriving in a fresh white envelope.
7:22 and the news continues. St. Louis police are looking for a break in the case of a fatal crossfire shooting.
47-year-old Taisha McDowell was found in her car the night of July 31st in North City. She was outside the Conoco gas station at 5750 Natural Bridge and had a gunshot wound to the head. She succumbed to her injuries days later at the hospital. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy says McDowell was trying to flee a shooting when she was struck. He says investigators are pursuing all leads.
This type of violence is deplorable, it is preventable, and we are not going to stop looking for those who pulled the trigger until arrests are made.
Taisha's daughter has set up a GoFundMe to help raise money for funeral expenses. It's called Support for the McDowell Family. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
The battle to keep the Kansas City Chiefs and Royals will go to the courtroom. St. Genevieve State Representative Bryant Wolfen, one of two lawmakers suing the state, saying the legislature passing a stadium funding bill is unconstitutional. He says the special session bill has multiple subjects, which is unconstitutional, yet a clause included in the bill could remove the additional subjects.
And they did that, so something like the property tax freeze could be stricken out from the courts, but yet the funding for the stadiums could potentially remain in there. By us passing that, we say, to me, Missourians, you get nothing, but the Chiefs and the Royals, you're fine still.
The bill would provide up to $1.5 billion in state tax funding for stadium upgrades, property tax increase limits in most Missouri counties, and a tax credit for natural disaster victims. A court date has not been set yet on the lawsuit.
Could former St. Louis Fed President James Bullard get appointed chair of the Federal Reserve? Reportedly, he is on a list of people being vetted. CNBC senior reporter Steve Leisman says Bullard has shown himself to be an independent thinker when it comes to interest rates.
It's a real question. I think the markets are going to be very carefully watching who this person is and the extent to which this person will be able to assert Federal Reserve independence from the president.
Bullard left the St. Louis Fed in 2023 and became dean of Purdue University's business school.
He's only been IRS commissioner for 2 months, but already Billy Long has been removed from the position. The former Missouri congressman and auctioneer is expected to be nominated to an ambassadorship. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will be acting commissioner. Long announced on social media that he's been nominated as the ambassador to Iceland.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says when it comes to running for office, it doesn't matter how much money you are worth. It matters what your values are.
I'm a Democrat because I believe that we've got to stand up for our democracy and against the MAGA Republicans who are literally trying to take away people's rights all across this country.
Pritzker was responding to a Meet the Press moderator's question prompted by New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, wondering if billionaires like Pritzker should exist.
Illinois' top law enforcement official is stepping up the fight against illegal robocalls. Correspondent Rachel Pearson of WBBM.
AG Kwame Raoul, along with a bipartisan group of 50 attorneys general, launched Operation Robocall Roundup, targeting telecom companies accused of letting robocalls flood the phone lines. Warning letters are now going out to 37 voice providers accused of ignoring federal rules and failing to register plans to stop illegal calls. Another 99 downstream providers are also being told they're doing business with bad actors.
As the region again experiences dangerously hot temperatures, people are being reminded to never leave their dog in a hot car. Danny Duffy is with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
It's really important if you see a dog in a hot car to stay by until the owner returns, or if you feel that there is too much time is passing, call the local authorities immediately.
In Illinois, leaving an animal in your car is illegal if the situation threatens the animal's health or life. If they have probable cause to believe this law is being violated, an animal control officer, law enforcement officer, or department investigator can enter your motor vehicle by any reasonable means to protect the animal after making a reasonable effort to locate the owner or other responsible party.
The Enjoy Illinois 300 NASCAR Cup playoff race is less than a month away, and this year's Grand Marshal will be actor Bill Murray. Murray will kick off the race with the traditional driver start your engines. Before that, he'll perform with his blues rock band, Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers, at the midway stage. The race takes place 2 o'clock Sunday, September 7th at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Part of the Confluence Music Festival, Murray will perform. The headliners, John Party, Ella Langley, with Adam Wainwright also performing over the weekend, and Tim Duggar.
It is now 7:27, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Warm weather means homework for homeowners, and for 80 years, Hackman Lumber has been a trusted name for home improvement. If your homework means a new deck, turn to the deck experts at Hackman Lumber. Browse the largest inventory of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. Talk with their experts about treated lumber, cedar, TimberTech, Trex, Envision, AZEK, and decorators to find the perfect deck for you. Choose from endless railings, balusters, and LED deck lighting options. And they will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Hackman has you covered. Building a new fence or replacing an old one? Hackman Lumber now carries in stock Eastern Red Cedar, the perfect choice for long-lasting, beautiful landscaping. Inventory includes 4x4 and 6x6 posts, dog ear pickets, and 2x4 framing. Homeowners and pros will find everything they need to build it right the first time. Visit Hackman Lumber's newly remodeled stores in St. Peters, Pacific, and Troy, Missouri.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got clouds and 73 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brands of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the biggest slowdown we have right now, Tom and Debbie, is going to be northbound Highway 270. You've got some slow stuff right around Gravois, and then it's just bogged down from 44 all the way up to Ladue. We had a crash on the shoulder. It wasn't a traffic lane. It's cleared to the shoulder to the Clayton Road overpass. Looks like it's completely gone now. East and westbound 64, just a little busy at 170, but it looks good out west. Southbound 61, eastbound 64, eastbound 70. Coming in across the Missouri River bridges, no delays there. Northbound 55, you're looking at slow traffic from just north of the Union Road overpass up through about Virginia, but it looks good down south through McNutt. Seen some heavy traffic westbound 70 downtown, just briefly past the Musial Veterans Bridge. It's a little slow on the Poplar Street Bridge, but no delays getting to it. Again, they're scheduled to be doing emergency repair work both directions on 5570 around Exchange now. This is a 2-week project that's scheduled to begin this hour, but right now it looks fine through that stretch. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast from Heather Zare. We're looking at sunshine mixing with clouds, a thunderstorm in a couple of spots, high around 90, patchy clouds, warm and humid, low 75 tonight. Tomorrow, more sun and clouds with a thunderstorm in spots, humid, a high of 91 degrees. Currently, it's partly cloudy in downtown St. Louis and up to 74 degrees.
The new comptroller for the city of St. Louis is calling for an investigation into improper payments made to her predecessor.
Former Comptroller Darlene Green has been issued at least 2 paychecks in recent weeks from the city's personnel department, as if she was still employed by the city's budget department. Now, new Comptroller Donna Barringer is calling for an investigation from the Civil Service Commission into the disbursement of those checks and whether they were properly authorized or lawful. Here's Mayor Kara Spencer's reaction to checks being issued to the former Comptroller.
I believe the word I used was bonkers.
Comptroller Barringer says her office is committed to cooperating with the investigation and looks forward to a detailed report within 30 days. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The 2 who died in last week's helicopter crash on a barge on the Mississippi in Alton were identified over the weekend. 35-year-old Nicholas Fulton of Salem, Missouri, and 37-year-old Michael Curry of Ashley, Illinois, were doing work for Ackerman, replacing visibility marker balls that hang on power lines over the river.
A St. Louis attorney who went on to serve as both a federal prosecutor and judge before taking on the roles of FBI director and CIA director has died. William H. Webster's family announced his passing at the age of 101. Those who opposed him in court or disagreed with his rulings acknowledged that his honesty was beyond question. The FBI shared this archived comment from Webster on his 100th birthday.
It's unquestionably clear to me that the role of the FBI is being seen throughout the United States as one of high degree of professionalism, dedication, and of delivering where delivering is necessary.
William Webster's memorial service will be held in Washington, D.C., September 18th.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your money report next. Sports 10 minutes away. It's 7:34.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
It is now 7:35 and time for us to get you updated on your money report. The latest from Bloomberg is sponsored for you by Busey Bank.
Good morning. According to a monthly survey by Bank of America, a record number of fund managers see stocks as being too expensive. Around 91% of participants indicated that American stocks are overvalued. That's the highest percentage ever in data going back to 2001. About 68% said a soft landing is the most likely outcome for the global economy in the next 12 months. Stocks have hit record highs on signs of a better than expected corporate earnings season and optimism that the Fed will lower interest rates. Small U.S. companies are struggling to comply with the Trump tariffs, with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce estimating that the combined annual tariff hit to small business importers is $202 billion. The Chamber also estimated this month that the country has about 236,000 small business importers, those with fewer than 500 employees, which means the tariff hit equals out to about $856,000 per firm per year. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Dan Schwartzman on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
Rod Stewart. One last time. A night of hit after hit after hit. Rocking the stage with very special guest, Cheap Trick. This Friday night, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Rod Stewart with Cheap Trick.
You know, earlier this hour, I guess, last hour, we talked to our business analyst, Jill Schlesinger, and she asked, how risky are you with your retirement savings? Well, maybe you're not really risky at all, but you need to kind of beef things up. I would highly recommend speaking with an expert. Jeff Sachs and his team at Sachs Financial are there to put your plan in place and simplify your retirement, because it's important to address these things now. And you remember earlier this year, people were freaking out as the stock market was tanking, and people were giving all kinds of advice. Do this, do that, move all your stocks into this, buy gold, whatever. If you didn't, here's what Jeff has to say about that.
The markets have gone up and down and been crazy. People have been questioning about the economy. And the one thing that I try and remind everybody is, if you have a plan for your retirement, all of this is just noise.
So have your plan in place. Take a little bit of the stress out of your retirement savings. You can talk to the team at Sachs Financial about what you need today and what you want in retirement, and they've got the roadmap to get you there. And when you have questions like, should I be selling? Should I be buying? Should I be withdrawing from my 401k? Well, you've got an expert on your side who can address that. RetireSafeSTL.com is where to get more information about Sachs Financial.
Refresh, restore, and protect your employees and customers. Call Zero Res to clean your business the right way so your floors and surfaces stay cleaner longer without the harmful chemicals the other guys use. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us. And we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Today, the Cards, the Rockies. Ameren Total Access 550. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Boy, it's nice to walk out of that ballpark last night after taking a series from the Cubs. Are the Cardinals in contention in the National League? Adam Wainwright says yes. We'll hear what he had to say coming up in just a moment. First, Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
That's busy out there, but it's not terrible on this Monday morning time. This traffic reports a service at Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. In northbound 55, you do have a backup from about the Union Road overpass up to Weber, slow to River to Para, then it picks up the pace. Tesson Ferry northbound, Kennerly up to like Concord School Road's pretty congested. North 270 slows north of the Sappington Road overpass through Gravois, and then from 44 all the way to Ladue, it's just busy. South 270 Page to Ladue, that's slow all the way down through there. 70 and 64 coming out of Wentzville, both look great across the Missouri River bridges. Eastbound 64 just a little busy right through the inner belt. And then there's some heavy traffic westbound from Hampton headed out to about Big Bend. And downtown, westbound 70, actually eastbound 44 from the Arch Grounds out onto westbound 70 to about Grand is pretty busy. Westbound 64, just a couple of spots where it's heavy from 3rd Street to the Poplar. Next update is 750 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
7:41, time for us to get the forecast from our AccuWeather meteorologist, Heather Zaire. And Heather, earlier this morning, we still have sunshine, but some dark clouds seem to be rolling into downtown.
Yeah, we have a little bit of both. We have been watching thunderstorms that have been ongoing in places north of the city. The worst storms have been well to the north, up closer to the Iowa border, and they're continuing to lift off to the northeast. But we'll see additional storms kind of popping up off and on as we go through the day. A lot of those will still be to the north, but we are going to have some storms around just about anywhere, topping out at about 90 degrees as the sun continues to mix with rounds of cloudiness. Tonight then is going to stay warm and humid. We'll have patchy clouds and a low of 75. And then another thunderstorm chance for tomorrow, mostly during the afternoon hours. We'll have clouds and sun with a high of 91 degrees. An afternoon thunderstorm chance is still around on Wednesday. The best chance, though, will be south of the city. Otherwise, it's partly sunny and humid with highs in the upper 80s. And then we're drying out for the most part for Thursday and Friday. We'll have clouds and sun around both days. High 91 on Thursday, but then getting hotter again as we head into Friday with a high of 95. Right now, 72 in St. Peter's, 75 in Florissant, and 75 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:43. Clayton Police is asking the public to check their Ring and surveillance cameras as they continue investigating the August 5th hate crime on Westmoreland Avenue. Death to the IDF was scrawled in graffiti on the street, and 3 cars were purposely set on fire. The Anti-Defamation League's Jordan Kadosh says the attack is evidence that anti-Semitic violence is drifting from the coasts to the Midwest.
When we say that this is what globalized the Intifada looks like, it's because people are trying to take this fight to Jews wherever they are. And they're not trying to keep it confined to the Middle East. And that's a problem. That's not acceptable in the United States, not in 2025.
The ADL offers a nationwide program for schools called No Place for Hate. Just days before the attack on Westmoreland, it was announced that Clayton School District would be implementing the program this school year.
A nightmare of a movie tops the box office.
Every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and they never came.
Weapons was number 1 at the box office with an estimated $42 million in ticket sales in North America, adding to Warner Brothers' summer hit parade that began with a Minecraft movie. The buzzier Freaky Friday came in second.
If you're me and I'm you, then who's that? I'm Grandma, sweetheart.
It had a $29 million take. Fantastic Four First Steps landed in third place. The Bad Guys 2 and The Naked Gun rounded out the top 5. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Why does it seem like everybody's remaking old movies? The Naked Gun was a great movie. I mean, look, I Happy Gilmore 2, I saw it. Didn't love it.
No, I haven't watched it yet because I did really like the original.
The original is a classic.
It is a classic.
This one does not.
But it did huge numbers for Netflix.
Great.
Huge numbers.
Great.
I know. I'm not into it either.
I guess I contributed to that too because I clicked on it.
All right. Well, I'll skip it. But Weapons, I do want to see.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I do love a good horror movie.
7:45. Last night was a lot of fun at the ballpark. Let me start with this. Adam Wainwright said the following. This was on Saturday afternoon before the Cardinals got blown out by the Cubs on Saturday 9-1. This was after the Cardinals had defeated the Cubs the previous night 5-0. Wainwright said, quote, on X, I'm looking at the schedule. I'm calling it now. The Cardinals shock everybody and are playing for a wild card spot on the last series of the season against the Cubs. Wainwright posted Cubs cards last 3 days of the regular season at Wrigley could be wild. He's right about that. It could be. The Cardinals right now are 3.5 games out of a wild card spot in the National League. He said it, not me. So I'm just giving you the facts. The fact that the Cardinals are 3.5 games out of a wild card spot. Now, Wainwright famously, you've probably heard this story before, but in 2011, he stood in front of a crowd at the Missouri Athletic Club and said, the Cardinals are 10.5 games out. How many games do they have left against the Brewers? 6. If they win all 6, they're 4.5 out. And if the Cardinals are 4.5 out in September, making a run, I would not want to play them, something along those lines. And he turned out to be right. The Cardinals ended up going on an insane run and became one of the great comeback teams in baseball history, winning not only a spot in the playoffs, but the World Series. Now, do they have that kind of team if they were able to get there to make a run like that? At this point, just enjoy what you're watching. The Cardinals are putting up a fight. I told you they got blown out on Saturday. Yesterday, they stood up to the Chicago Cubs. Pedro Pajes at the plate, no score.
Next pitch is hit high in the air to deep left center field. That's going back to the track, and it's gone! Big fly! Pedro Pajes! 2-0 Cardinals in the third inning. His 8th home run of the year. Into the bleachers in left field.
Ricky Horton with the call on KMOX. Later, Pete Crow Armstrong. He is a terrific player for Chicago. Now, he was mic'd up by ESPN on Sunday Night Baseball when that ball went over his head and into the seats off the bat of Pajes. Then he singled, stole second, and I think the commentators are ready to talk all about a future MVP candidate, and then this happened.
Mason Wynn trying to keep him close, and the pickoff attempt. They did it! Mason Wynn sneaking in behind him. Armstrong says he might be safe. Let's see if the Cubs want to challenge that. He says play on, a pickoff at the second base bag. Outstanding work by the Cardinals, and Pete Crow Armstrong can't believe it.
Well, believe it. It's an out, and the Cardinals have a 2-0 lead, but a 2-run homer by Shaw after a Gorman error in the 5th tied the game at 2. And wouldn't you know it, Nolan Gorman's at the plate with a chance to redeem himself in the 7th.
Jordan Walker takes his lead. Iminaga delivers to Gorman. Swing and a base hit to right field. Walker rounds third. He's headed home. Throw to the plate. Not in time. Down to second and safe is Nolan Gorman. The Cardinals take the lead. Nolan Gorman delivers in the 7th. 3-2 St. Louis.
Cardinals go on to win the game 3-2. Good bullpen work by Riley O'Brien and JoJo Romero after 7 strong innings from Sonny Gray. Cardinals and Rockies tonight at 6:45 at Busch Stadium. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. You really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
All right, let's get you caught up at 7:51 on your ride in. It's turned decidedly cloudy. Even that sunshine that I was seeing a few moments ago seems to have disappeared behind the clouds downtown. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, well, even if the sun's not in your eyes, there's still brake lights in your face on some of these highways, Debbie. We have a lot of slow traffic on northbound 270. Let's call it approaching Gravway up to 44. Then there's pockets north of 44, all the way up to by Clayton Road. Still busy up to Ladue after that. South 270 Page down to the Ladue construction zone. That's pretty busy. Some volume now on eastbound 70 between Lake St. Louis and Highway K. But after that, it looks like you're in good shape. Southbound 170 just sort of bogged down at the Parkway. Eastbound 64 looks great out west. You just have some slow traffic from McKnight to about Big Bend. Westbound 64 Science Center to Big Bend is kind of slow. We're backed up on northbound 55, just north of the Union Road overpass up through Weber, and then eastbound 44 downtown from the Poplar out onto westbound 70. It's backed up out to about Madison, and then it's slow out to about Grand after that, it looks like. And westbound 64 west of 3rd Street to the Poplar, that's just kind of heavy at this point in time. Next update at 7:58 for the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Pretty easy forecast, Roger. We're looking at the same for the next 3 days. Sunshine mixing with clouds, a thunderstorm in a couple of spots, a high around 90. Tonight, low 75. Tomorrow, high 91. Wednesday, high 89. Currently partly cloudy and 74 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:53. St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery faces his removal from office by Attorney General Andrew Bailey for a number of counts. While Bailey insists that the responsibility of transporting detainees belongs to the sheriff, Montgomery and his team disagree, saying it belongs to the jail's correctional staff, pushing back against a bill from the Board of Aldermen codifying that responsibility into law. Montgomery's attorney, David Mason, calls it an unfunded mandate.
Never heard of this situation where we're going to have you all this extra stuff, then you got to prove to us it's going to be a financial problem for you.
The Board of Aldermen disagree with the bill's sponsor, Matt Devote, saying transporting detainees in need of medical care is not a new responsibility, rather a long-established one.
While the Radiation Exposures Compensation Act, or RECA, website is supposed to be live, the Department of Justice is having problems with the website because of the volume of responses. It can't process claims right now. But Just Moms STL has a backup plan.
Just Moms STL posted they have put together on their RECA website the PDF so you are able to print it out and mail it in. Now, the application also contains the specific documents you will need to be able to qualify, along with a phone number for the Department of Justice if you have questions. Now, there is no portal to apply online currently, so you will need to print it out, fill it out, and then mail it in. The full and complete forms are on the website for direct download and printing. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Northwoods police are looking for a 4-year-old girl who was taken from her daycare on Friday by her father. This was Friday afternoon around 3:15. Germani Alaya Fluellen is African-American, about 3'6", weighing 36 pounds. She was wearing a white t-shirt, pink Champion jogging pants, and white Nike Air Force Ones. Her black hair is braided with pink and white beads. Police say the father, 24-year-old Lavelle Fluellen, has a tattoo of his mother's name, Christina Fluellen, on his right arm. Police say Lavelle took his daughter without permission and refuses to abide by the conditions established by St. Louis County courts. You're asked to call 911 if you see them.
St. Louis County Police have issued an endangered notice for a 74-year-old woman who has not been seen since Thursday at 5 o'clock in the 1300 block of Kingsford Drive. That is in Florissant. Brenda Wayne is African-American, 5'6", gray hair. She was wearing an unknown colored shirt, blue pants, and pulling a two-wheeled rolling cart. Police say Wayne walked away from her son's home and is not familiar with the area and is displaying signs of dementia. If you see Ms. Wayne, call 911.
It is 7:55. This is Total Information AM.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. When you are looking for tree care services in St. Louis, look no further than Gamma Tree Experts. Gamma Tree also, this is their phone number, 314-725-6159. Their office is available 24 hours a day. That's an important number to have in your phone because when thunderstorms come rumbling through here, and if you get storm damage, you're going to want to call Gamma Tree Experts. 314 725-6159. Even with the best efforts of a regular tree maintenance program, no one can prevent that kind of tree damage caused by Mother Nature. Once the damage is done, you can count on Gamma for prompt professional help. It's reassuring to know that Gamma crews are well trained to work in those hazardous situations. Gamma Tree Experts, gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Let's check in now with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We've been doing okay this morning, Debbie. Not too many serious problems, thankfully. If you're traveling up on North 270, that's the busiest stretch we have this morning, and North 270 is still bogged down. I think we're just going to call it south of Gravois up to a 44, and then it's pockets of stop-and-go traffic from there to Ladue, but it's busy the whole way through, but bumper to bumper from 44 up in stretches. Northbound 141, you've got delays from Centurion all the way up in through, looks like Forest, and it looks like we're backed up again. Dutch Mill up through the, it's again from Carmen up to Manchester, and then again approaching Dutch Mill, a little bit of a backup there. Eastbound 64 slow coming in from Mason to 270 around the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Science Center to Big Bend, and again west of Lindbergh to 270 is heavy. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Getting cloudy in downtown St. Louis. It's 75 degrees. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories coming up with Megan Lynch.
I'm Sean Malone. St. Louis City Sheriff Alfred Montgomery could sue to block a bill that codifies his job.
There's a very high likelihood that we will challenge the legality.
Coming up, his attorney explains their reasoning.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. Find out why couples are ditching dating apps.
We'll ask why federal agents are patrolling Washington, D.C.
What do the youngest generation of workers want? Sean Malone asks about Gen Z expectations in the workplace.
And we'll talk with the CEO of U.S. Figure Skating about the top talent coming to St. Louis in January. We're looking at a cloudy sky, 75 downtown right now.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump is expected to speak in an hour about a new plan to have federal troops protect the nation's capital.
The president says he'll address ending the crime, murder, and death in our nation's capital.
We're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged.
He suggests crime is up in D.C.
What a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else.
But Mayor Muriel Bowser disagrees, telling MSNBC,
"We are not experiencing a spike in crime."
Trump has already sent hundreds of federal officers to patrol the streets. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
The president posted to Truth Social this morning saying, quote, Washington will be liberated today. and crime, savagery, filth, and scum will disappear. Mr. Trump is prepping for a meeting with Vladimir Putin in Alaska Friday. CBS News has learned Putin requested the one-on-one, but Mr. Trump is still open to including Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss the ceasefire agreement. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte on CBS's Face the Nation.
On Friday, it is important to see how serious Putin is. And the only one who can do that is President Trump.
The president has suggested a land swap might be part of a potential peace deal. Israel claims a reporter killed in a strike on Gaza over the weekend was a Hamas cell leader responsible for advancing rocket attacks. Reporter Linda Gradstein is in Jerusalem.
In a statement after the attack, Al Jazeera said the Israeli army's order to kill Anas Sharif, who they called one of Gaza's bravest journalists, along with his colleagues, is a desperate attempt to silence voices ahead of the occupation of Gaza.
Kansas and Missouri are bracing for heavy rain and flooding that's already drenched places like West Allis, Wisconsin.
5 feet of water in the basement.
We looked out our windows like it was like a river.
Correspondent Tom Hansen.
The same system brought destructive winds to eastern Nebraska. One woman was killed after a tree landed on her car. In Lincoln, wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour tore off part of the roof of the Nebraska State Penitentiary, forcing hundreds of inmates to be relocated. And in Missouri, flooding on Sunday created this geyser in the middle of the road and caused backlogs on highways in and out of St. Louis.
Overseas, a swarm of jellyfish has temporarily shut down a nuclear plant in northern France. The state-owned operator says they entered the filter drum and clogged pumps used to cool the reactors. The Gravelines plant on the coast between Calais and Dunkirk is one of the largest in the country. Officials say there's been no harm to the environment. Dow futures are up 68. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, August 11th. The news sponsored by St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch. A bill codifying the St. Louis Sheriff's responsibilities could spark a legal fight.
The bill advanced out of committee would require the sheriff submit paperwork for all purchases to the comptroller and codify into law they are the ones responsible for transporting detainees in need of medical care. Sheriff Alfred Montgomery's attorney, David Mason, insists this is an unfunded mandate as both sides dig in their heels over whether the department has always been responsible for transporting detainees. He says if this bill is passed by the full board, don't be surprised if a lawsuit follows.
There's a very high likelihood that we will challenge the legality of sending duties to this office and then at the same time not funding them.
Sheriff Montgomery is currently facing his removal from office by Attorney General Andrew Bailey, in part due to not transporting detainees. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The Department of Justice's website for people to apply for the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act is not able to accommodate all the requests, but the group Just Moms STL has another way of filing your claim.
And you do that by going to RECA-Missouri, the word Missouri spelled out, -resources.org. That is what Just Moms has set up. The PDF can be found there and downloaded. You can then print it out, fill out, and mail it to the Department of Justice, who is administering the RECA program. That address to mail in the application is listed in several places and will also be listed in the comments. The application will contain the specific documents that you will need to be able to qualify, along with a phone number for the Department of Justice if you have questions. Right now, it is not known when DOJ's website will be able to handle the traffic from people applying for RECA assistance. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
A slow-moving thunderstorm brought a headache for drivers and the St. Louis City Fire Department Sunday afternoon. Captain Garen Mosby tells KMOX his firefighters performed several water rescues.
Just don't know how deep it is in spots you can't see the bottom of the ground, and it doesn't take much water to move your vehicle or for it to stall out and put you in a precarious situation.
No injuries were reported. A former Metro East congressman with a military background skeptical about the Trump White House launching a campaign to end Russia's war with Ukraine. As a guest on News Nation Sunday, Bill Enyart says he doesn't think threatened sanctions against Russia will cause an end to hostilities.
Putin sees himself as Peter the Great. He wants to restore imperial Russia. He is building his legacy for the future.
Enyart said he'd be astonished if Putin and Zelensky get together anytime soon, and he feels Ukraine is unlikely to give up any land the Russians have illegally seized in exchange for ending the war. Former U.S. Representative Billy Long of Missouri has been removed as the IRS commissioner just 2 months after his confirmation. President Trump dismissed him from the role, though the reason remains unclear. Long's exit makes him the shortest tenured IRS commissioner in the position's history. Meanwhile, Long announced on social media that he's been nominated as the ambassador to Iceland. A well-respected American statesman with roots in St. Louis and Webster Groves has died at the age of 101.
I, William H. Webster, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Judge William Webster taking the oath of office as President Ronald Reagan's CIA director in May 1987. He's being remembered as one whose troubleshooting skills and integrity helped restore public confidence in the agencies during his time spent as FBI director and later the CIA. Here's more of Webster from 1987.
There are some today who can hear my voice, but who cannot share the sunlight of this occasion because our country needs their anonymity. I simply want to salute these unseen soldiers of democracy and say that I am proud to join their team.
Former President George W. Bush said in a statement Friday night that Webster's passion for the rule of law and for the greatness of America made him a model public servant. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
Former Cardinals pitcher Mitch Harris details his struggles and journey from the United States Navy to the major leagues. In a new book, Harris joined KMOX, where he recalls working on his pitching while serving in the Navy on board an aircraft carrier.
Dad would ship out baseballs to the ship. We'd go on the flight deck in between flight ops, throw on the flight deck, and just from a mentality standpoint, it just kept me in it, just kept the hope up.
Harris's book, My Private War, is available now. It's 8:08. We'll get a check of traffic and weather together next.
With the heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, simple, quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now, the news. At 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 8:10. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're doing okay. Just slow in spots, Megan. You have to expect that. The busiest place we've had today is North 270, and it's still bogged down approaching Gravois. There's stop-and-go pockets from 44 up through Manchester, but it remains busy all the way to Ladue. Now, South 270 is thinned out coming down through Olive and Ladue. That looks better. Eastbound 70 and 64 coming out of Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges. It's fine. Eastbound 64 slow McKnight through Hanley, westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley, a little busy, and then Spady to Ballas, just kind of heavy after that. Northbound 55, a little off the pace from Bayless up to River de Pere, or let's call it north of Bayless. Westbound 70 from the Muswell Veterans out to the McKinley Bridge is slow, but the Poplar is cleared out downtown. There's still some volume, not as bad though. Northbound 141, Centurion up through Elam and Valley Park, and Clayton Road up to 64, the heaviest backups on that run for you if you want to avoid 270, because like I said, it's been pretty busy this morning. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, sun mixing with clouds today. There'll be a thunderstorm in a couple of spots with a high around 90. Patchy clouds tonight, warm and humid with a low of 75. A thunderstorm in spots tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon. Clouds, sun, and humid otherwise, high 91. Partly sunny and humid Wednesday. An afternoon thunderstorm can't be ruled out, mainly south of the city, high 89. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on 104.1 FM KMOX.
And checking the temperatures around the region, we have cloudy skies, 77 degrees in Florissant, 74 in St. Peters, and clouds, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. What happens when the head of marketing for a cybersecurity company happens to be a big comic book fan? Well, you get an interactive comic series that lets you solve real-world cybersecurity problems. I spoke with the writer of the series, Fred Van Lente, and Adam Freeman, publisher of The Future Is.
How did this come about? A man named Jason Blanchard is a big comic book fan and is the head of marketing for this large cybersecurity company called Black Hills Information Security. And he decided he wanted to marry those two things in order to grow their audience. And they have this incredibly vibrant community of hackers and cybersecurity professionals. And he knew that comics was going to be a way to bring new people in, but also contribute to the community was there. And so he brought us in to make good comics.
So I guess the whole concept of this is that the readers get to follow along on kind of an adventure where they are white hat hackers and trying to solve some of these problems.
Yeah, exactly. Although I will say you don't have to do the challenges to enjoy the comic, to enjoy the story. That's something we've worked very diligently to ensure. It's kind of a cyberpunk future, a tad dystopian. We like to say in this world, you have no rights, only terms of service. There's been a social breakdown to the point where you need people like this organization, Black Mountain, run by a mysterious hacker named Wheeler, who basically goes out and rescues people from very bad technologically based situations. We were on a podcast and the host described it as Black Mirror with hope. And I like that. I decided I was going to steal that, and I'm just using it wherever I go.
How much of this did you draw from what's actually happening right now?
A lot. I mean, the fundamental concept of this world is basically augmented reality, which is something that if you know about, Google Glass at one point and then Apple Vision and other products, it's basically, if you've played Pokemon Go, you know what augmented reality is, where it's just the internet layered over reality. It's just that in our world in the future, we've done away with the intermediary of the cell phone and the computer. Basically, you live inside the internet now because you have a little neural implant that lets through your eyes to see and click and move through the internet. And then the internet is constantly putting everything from, I want to look like, a cat. So we have a character that always looks like a cat because they have a permanent avatar, like as if in a video game, over themselves as they walk around through life. He's called the Stray. He's one of the more feared freebooters, hackers out there. But then, there's also things like pop-up ads in your life as you walk around, as if we didn't already have too much advertising shoved down our throats at a daily basis. And so basically it's in a situation where you almost have this kind of cyber feudalism where the people who control the code control the world. And the little guy, little gal ends up getting ground up by that a lot. We have heroes, our folks at Black Mirror, the main characters of The Future Is. Their funding is mysterious. No one quite can trust Wheeler because he won't ever tell anybody what he's up to, but he's gathered these operatives around and they go out on kind of cyberpunk Mission Impossible missions to save people. In the first issue, which is gloriously long, as a Gen Xer, I grew up with like number ones being double sized. So this is a quadruple sized first issue. It's over 100 pages. They thwart a human trafficking operation on a casino on the moon.
I think the experience that you're offering people is very interesting. I remember the novels when I was a kid where you could pick the alternate endings. You remember those? I mean, that was kind of like the first.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this kind of makes me think of that people get to be part of this experience in a somewhat real way.
Yeah, the CTFs, the capture the flag. This is a tradition inside of the cybersecurity and hacker worlds where they develop puzzles for each other. Right? It's code. It's just code breaking at the end of the day, and so what we've done is bring that into this project. So every book has a minimum of, I believe, 2 interior and 2 on the cover puzzles to be solved. And as you're solving them, you end up on a leaderboard, and we have a cumulative leaderboard that people are able to jump into. And but the process of doing this is how they train each other different techniques and different skills and different tools for hacking. And so that all of this is in effort to make, as John puts it, John Strand, he puts it, is to make the reader the hero of the story. So when we see Wheeler and his team doing some sort of attack, you can go to that URL that's in the panel and do the same attack.
Now, obviously, with the title, like The Future Is, if people might think, this is really doom and gloom. You mentioned the term dystopian, but actually it sounds like the concept of this is kind of hopeful that you'll draw this next generation into this realm of cybersecurity.
Yeah, I mean, we joke, so the full title is the future is, and then there's 6 asterisks, which many people have interpreted to be a word I can't say on the radio. I sometimes just call it the future is asterisk. I mean, one of the CTF challenges Adam was just talking about is every issue there's a different 6-letter code. So each issue, what's underneath the asterisk is technically different, and it's always a theme of something that's going on in the comic itself. So, to me, the future is undetermined, right? And that's what that means, the asterisks. And so I find that very hopeful. I can't guarantee anybody, I never promised you a rose garden, right? But there is going to be a little rain sometime. But we're going to have both. We're going to have roses and rain.
And we've talked a lot about obviously, when you're writing a book and you're creating a book that is set in the future, you talk about what do you want the future to be and what can we make it into, right? A lot of what these people do is seeing the worst case scenario and say, how do we get to a place where it's not that? Or how do we get to a better, what is the work we need to do to get us to the better place scenario? But I will say that the title too, the thing that really resonated when we finally landed on that title was the future is the word we can't say on the radio, but the future is also everything else that can fit into 6 letters. And you know what? At the end of the day, the future just is. The future is coming. Whether we like it or fear it or embrace it or are ready or not ready, the future is, and it is coming.
That is Fred Van Lente and Adam Freeman of The Future Is. Rekka Comics has released 6 in the series so far. Let's get a check of the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, North 270 is still the busiest place we have, Megan. This traffic report's a service of Duke's Mayonnaise. North 270 still slow at Gravois. Jam 44 up through Big Bend. They just cleared a crash to the shoulder north of Big Bend, but it's still heavy stoppable pockets north of there up to Ladue. South 270 is clear coming down through Ladue. Eastbound 64, still a little busy right at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley, slow Spady. Out to 270 is kind of busy. Northbound 141, 44 up to about Marshall Road looks congested. And then Clayton Road up to 64, you're still on the brakes. North 55 is cleared out. Westbound 70, Mutual Veterans to the McKinley Bridge is slow, but otherwise traffic on the Illinois side heading into downtown on the interstates looks fine. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, we should have some sunshine throughout the day, but clouds as well. A thunderstorm in spots possible, a high around 90. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Brought to you by Duke's Mayonnaise.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about the best mayo. It has a yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
Hey guys, Dave and Rach here for our good friends at Smart Mouth. So it is unique by the very definition of the word. It's the only mouth rinse out there with 2 chemicals that combine to prevent bad breath for 24 hours a day with just 2 rinses a day.
Never have bad breath again. You can find Smart Mouth locally at Schnucks and Deerbergs or at Walgreens, Walmart, and Amazon. Visit smartmouth.com to snag a special discount on your next Smart Mouth purchase. That's smartmouth.com/Glover.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Love seekers are abandoning dating apps in favor of the old-fashioned approach. Here's correspondent Lilia Luciano with the story.
Hopefully the Reds win tonight.
I'm really hoping for a Reds win, sweep the Yankees.
Ross Rowling and Carly Burns are like any other couple in their 20s.
When I first saw Ross, I was like, oh, he's cute. And he can hold a conversation.
What's unusual these days is how they met, in person.
When we tell people that we met at a singles event, they're like, no way, they still have those? I'm like, oh yeah, you should go.
The couple, who's been together for a year and a half, met at an event hosted by Date Cincy. It was just the second event put on by Cincinnati natives and childhood friends Paige Braley and Logan Moore. They launched a matchmaking event series for people who have grown sick of swiping for dates and are looking to connect in person.
It seems like the millennials are the ones who they make up the bulk of our events.
Yeah. I think there's a perception that Gen Z and younger millennials are just married to their phones. What does that look like from your perspective?
To an extent, guilty as charged, right? Mm-hmm. That being said, I think we've also kind of gone through the burnout of it.
Millennials, people between 29 and 45, were the first to get on dating apps and the first to get off them. Gen Z, the generation between the ages of 13 and 28, use the apps even less.
So now there's this craving and this yearning for just time like this, right? Mm-hmm. Like where we're just connecting face to face with other humans.
At these events, anywhere between 50 and 800 singles show up, all with a common goal and without the ability to hide who they really are, like some people do online.
You meet them in person and then it's like, oh, well, we actually have nothing in common, or you're not who I thought you were.
Bumble, a once popular app, has lost 90% of its value since going public 4 years ago. while in-person events are increasingly popular, with attendance rising by 42% from 2022 to 2023.
It's probably going to be awkward. Just acknowledge that it will be awkward and just go in with an open mind. And who knows, maybe you'll meet someone and go on a first date and it goes well.
Carly and Ross are among the many date Cincy couples that the group counts among their success stories of love at first sight.
I knew within the first month that I was going to marry her.
And you can't create chemistry in that sense. That happens face to face.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. It's just part of the human nature. You get filled with a passion. You get filled with excitement and energy because you feel that chemistry.
With no swiping or filters, turns out there's plenty of room for real engagement and even a ring. I'm Lilia Luciano in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And coming up next on Total Information AM, President Trump has directed federal law enforcement agencies to increase their presence in Washington, D.C. We're going to get the latest from CBS News reporter Torian Small.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Life is change, an election, an illness, a death, and questions. What about my family, my retirement, my estate? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano stand ready to help you plan for your life changes and protect what matters to you. They have listened, planned, and executed thousands of estate plans, taxes, and legal documents for over 30 years, right here in St. Louis. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano make it easy to get started. Go to their website, yourestateMatters.com, and request their free webinar. It focuses on simple legal strategies and their process. Then schedule your free personal consultation. Life is change. Plan now. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com. Choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
The Dave Glover Show.
If you sit down with me and we talk about who I am, what I am, my values, political, voting record, you're never going to walk away and go, that guy's a bleeding heart progressive. I'm just not stupid. And I just don't take bait. And I just don't do things because you tell me to, or that I'm afraid that if I don't, fall in line or get on the bandwagon, people aren't going to like me. Been there, done that for years.
The Dave Glover Show, now on FM 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's get you to work on this Monday morning with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still pretty busy on northbound 270, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Anderson Hospital. North 270 is still bogged down, bumper to bumper, really, from Gravelly to 44. Then it's slow approaching Big Bend. That crash is still on the shoulder between there and Doherty Ferry. I mean, slow up to Manchester. It looks like we have a new crash near the Clayton Road overpass now on North 270. So you're backed up at Manchester up to that one. That's where we had one earlier this morning. So it looks like you get in trouble there now on northbound 270. And once you get past that point, you're still a little slow up into the work zone at Ladue. If you're on eastbound 64, just a little busy at the Intervelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, and Spady out to Ballas is slow. Northbound 141, Clayton Road up to 64. Not a solid jam, but it's still pretty heavy there. And downtown, we still have some slow traffic west of the Mutual Veterans past the McKinley Bridge as well. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Serving the Metro East region with excellence, Anderson Hospital is proud to be named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025. Experience world-class care close to home. AndersonHospital.org.
We'll see a mix of clouds and sun today, a thunderstorm in spots possible, and a high around 90. Right now, cloudy skies, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. President Trump has directed federal law enforcement agencies to increase their presence in the nation's capital. Let's get the latest now from CBS News reporter Torian Small. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Why the call for a larger presence in D.C.?
Well, it seems like this is just a compounding issue for the president. I should note that on the campaign trail, President Trump did bash D.C. and its perceived crime problem, saying that it's time that a Republican steps in to federalize D.C. We also saw probably 2 weeks ago at this point, an alleged attack on a member of the Department of Government efficiency during an attempted carjacking. And then just over the weekend, the president went on a tear on his social media site, Truth Social, saying that homelessness in D.C. is out of control, and he's looking to start the beautification of the district by intervening. What that looks like, according to sources, is that the president is looking to deploy the National Guard to help get rid of homeless encampments, but then also do something to address crime. This comes as district leaders say that crime actually is on a downward spiral. Over year, crime is down about 26% in D.C. Homicides down about 12%. So Muriel Bowser, the city's mayor, is saying that this is indications that any intervention from the federal level would be simply an overreach.
Torian, you mentioned the National Guard. At this point, what federal agencies are involved in patrolling the streets?
Right now, it looks like National Guards and the FBI on top of coordination with local law enforcement. Now, what that looks like exactly isn't known at this moment, but we're expected to get more insight during this press conference that the president will hold in just a matter of a half hour or so. Again, this is a part of a multi-agency task force, according to sources, but we know that the National Guard will have some type of influence or involvement in this.
When it comes to the homeless that were mentioned, has anything been talked about as far as, well, if they are rounded up by the National Guard, what happens to those people?
Not quite. And this isn't necessarily something that hasn't been discussed before. The mayor has done attempts or implemented policies to address homeless encampments around the cities, mostly to ensure that those areas are safe. So she's done roundup efforts before. The concerns that I'm hearing from district leaders, though, is that there aren't enough resources to adequately address the issue, especially long term. If there is a temporary enforcement that would see these encampments pretty harshly removed, there's a question about where would these people go and how long would they remain there before these encampments return.
Torian, thank you so much for helping us follow the story.
Thank you.
That is CBS News reporter Torian Small joining us this morning on KMOX. Your money report from Bloomberg is next.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
8:36, time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman.
Good morning. Researchers at Goldman Sachs say that while consumers have yet to feel the brunt of the Trump tariffs on imported goods, more pain is on the way. So far, companies have absorbed most tariff-related costs, but that is expected to shift if the recent tariffs follow patterns seen in the past. Goldman says they expect a bump to inflation for the rest of the year. As the trade truce deal with China is set to expire, President Trump is pushing for China to buy more American soybeans. U.S. farmers will begin harvesting the beans within weeks, so they have more to sell. Trump says China is worried about a shortage of soybeans, and he hopes China will quadruple its orders from current levels. Warner Brothers Pictures had its 7th #1 opening so far this year as the new horror film Weapons topped the box office, bringing in $42.5 million domestically and $70 million internationally. Weapons edged out Walt Disney's Freakier Friday, which brought in $29 million. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Dan Schwartzman on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here. It's time to crack open an ice-cold Budweiser on a hot day like today. Budweiser also is proud to continue a 15-year partnership with Folds of Honor. And it's always good to remember that Folds of Honor is an organization rooted in supporting military families in need. Service never stops, and neither will we. This year, proceeds from every 12-pack of Budweiser and Bud Zero sold go directly to Folds of Honor. By the way, got myself a 12-pack of Bud Zero recently. I thought, let's give Bud Zero a little try. See how that tastes. Tastes great. And it's also nice. I can pop a couple of Bud Zeros and hop in the car and go run some errands. Bud Zero, no alcohol. Budweiser is a great beer to kick back and enjoy the ball game. Budweiser is the king of beers, the delicious tradition. Budweiser, this Bud's for you.
Man, look at that Return of the Old King, man. Oh, wow. Emotional.
King of the Hill is back.
They got a Bob's in the airport now. Oh, that's Boba.
World has changed, Dad.
Bobby wants to bring that new girl over for dinner.
The Vegas? What the hell am I supposed to feed her?
Can't we just put some grass in a bowl?
From Mike Judge and Greg Daniels.
Ready to make some memories, Dad?
Let's freaking go.
A Hulu original series, King of the Hill. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
Hey, hello. Listen to my voice talking to you about the new Old Spice NFL collection at Walmart. Now listen to my smell. I smell like NFL stars Jared Goff, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley, CJ Stroud, and George Kittle. I smell like greatness. Why? Because I'm wearing Old Spice's new NFL collection. How can you put the greatness of the NFL into a smell, you ask? You can't. But Old Spice can. And they did. Smell like Suntal and Speed, Driftwood and Drive, Sea Ties and Toughness with the Old Spice NFL collection available at Walmart. Smell like the greatest smell in the NFL with Old Spice.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Glover, right now buy 2 windows and get 2 for free. No interest for 5 years. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Cloudy and 75 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Israel's military has targeted and killed an Al Jazeera correspondent and others in an airstrike as they sheltered outside a Gaza City hospital. Israel's military asserted that Anas al-Sharif had led a Hamas cell. Former U.S. Representative Billy Long of Missouri has been removed as the IRS commissioner. Long announced on social media he's been nominated as ambassador to Iceland. What does Gen Z want from work life? Sean Malone will ask that next here on KMOX. First, though, let's get a check of the roads for you from Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, 270 is still the slowest run we have out there, Megan, northbound. This traffic reports the service of Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. North 270 is backed up at 44. Pockets up to Manchester, slow all the way to Ladue. They're still clearing the crash that's on the shoulder near the railroad overpass between Big Bend and Doherty Ferry. The one that was on the shoulder near the Clayton Road overpass looks like that one has been taken care of. Westbound 64, Bellevue, Big Bend area to the inner belt, just a little slow. Other than that, the rest of these area interstates look pretty good. There's a little slowdown on eastbound 70 approaching Hawks Nest as you come up the hill toward Highway 94. No delays downtown across the bridges, and I still don't see delays in that emergency repair zone 5570 around Exchange. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
We're starting out with cloudy skies today. We may see a little bit of sunshine, but a thunderstorm is possible in a couple of spots today. Expect a high around 90. Partly cloudy, warm and humid tonight with a low of 75 and a mix of clouds and sun again tomorrow with thunderstorms in spots mainly in the afternoon. It will be a humid day tomorrow as well with a high of 91. Right now we have cloudy skies, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. What impact are the youngest workers having on the workplace? KMOX's Sean Malone met DeAndre Braddock's ombudsperson at St. Louis Community College at a recent event looking at the region's workforce. He asked about these workers born between 1997 and 2012.
So one of the main takeaways is that Gen Z is searching for purpose-driven work. They want to know that the work that they do matters. And when you think about the context of COVID and the upheaval they saw, you also think about the Great Resignation post-COVID, where people that were stable in their careers had these existential crises and wanted to jump ship and get into new lines of work or career or whatnot. I think that helped Gen Z to think much differently about the nature of work and the relationship to their employers. And so they want to know that what the work they do matters. And so they don't just want to be a worker bee that's in this transactional relationship of I do work, you pay me, but they want to know their work matters in the bigger context of community and the global society that they live in.
I thought one of the interesting takeaways is that only 6% want to pursue a leadership position. Do you have any more context behind that of what contributes to that mindset?
Yeah, so when you break it down and you actually look at some of the other data points, and for instance, when you know that Gen Z they believe that managers, one of their primary responsibilities is to nurture them, mentor them, and support their work-life balance. But yet, when you talk to managers,
that's what they expect from managers.
Yes, that's what they expect. But then whenever you talk to managers, and only 13% of their time is developing employees, and then a third of those same managers also say that they don't have the skills to be people leaders, they weren't trained to do so, then I think what you see is you have Gen Z feeling as though they've been failed by managers. Thus, what would be the aspiration or the desire to become part of the problem that they're observing? And so I think
it'd be fixing the problem.
Well, but
6%.
But I don't know that there's that hope that they have yet, because they're not seeing examples of what they need, their needs being met. And I think the more that we can realign the workplace to meet the needs of Gen Z, the more pipelines you create to leadership, and the more aspirations for obtaining those leadership positions will increase.
How much of that could be contributed to just the age of Gen Z? Like I said, even the oldest surprising me at 28, but a lot of them are on the younger side. Maybe could some of it just be they don't feel like they have the experience or the age and wisdom to be in a leadership role where they might be in charge of people that are quite older than them?
Absolutely. I definitely think that's fair. And so over time, we'll have to see if that kind of characteristic sticks to this generation. But for the time being, though they may not be aspiring for leadership positions, it doesn't mean they lack ambition. So they are upskilling, they are working on professional development at least 2 to 3 times a week. The vast majority of them, it's about 70%. And so they'll have the skills, I believe, to be people leaders. I think what we have to do is just give them better examples of what people leaders can be in order to move them into those positions as they acquire more skills and more experience over time.
Employers hiring college graduates, they are hiring Gen Z more often than not at that point, if it's a recent college grad. What advice would you give to an employer to, I guess, better fit what Gen Z is looking for out of an experience such as working for that company?
Yeah, so I think first it has to start with employers better understanding Gen Z and what they want and what they're seeking. So as you're interviewing Gen Z, it needs to be a two-way street. All interviews are a two-way street. You're interviewing the employee, but the employee is also potential employees interviewing you and deciding if it's the right fit for them. And so part of this is trying to figure out if there's value in listening to those Gen Z members and adapting your workplace accordingly. And so, and sometimes it's just training your environment. So explaining that work-life balance doesn't have to look one way, that this is how our organization provides that to you versus maybe another organization. And so, and then also, I think it's really important that we focus on the purpose. What is the value add of that workplace as you have Gen Zers interviewing you and considering your employment opportunities? What does that mean for them in this bigger context of community in terms of value add?
There's one of the funnier parts of your presentation, but what is the Gen Z stare?
Oh, the Gen Z stare. It's this blank, expressionless look that you get from Gen Z when asked a question or in a social interaction. And so it's this phenomenon. It's big on TikTok. And there's different, we ascribe different reasons behind it. So one being that because of COVID, they struggle with interpersonal communication and interactions. And then on the other side, it's that they're so authentic that they don't want to just give you a fake response. If they're not engaged, they want you to kind of know they're not engaged, and that's the response you're going to get.
It's not all bad.
It's not all bad. No, it depends on your perspective and how you look at it.
Anything else I didn't ask you about that you think people should know?
That Gen Z, they get they're catching a lot of heat. They have a bad rap right now, but at the same time, if we can understand what they're wanting, and it doesn't mean that we have to give them everything that they're asking for in terms of the manner in which they want it, but big picture, So one of the news articles was ping pongs and naps. But that doesn't mean that they need that per se. What I hear is we want mental health and well-being to be centered in the workplace. And so then it's incumbent upon workplaces to then figure out, okay, how do we meet that need, but still align with our budget and kind of the focus of our work.
That is Sean Malone and DeAndre Braddock's ombudsperson at St. Louis Community College.
It can be infuriating if you recently in the last couple of years had a new deck built or a new fence and you are already seeing it warping, splintering, nails popping out. It's just not wearing well. Was it really such a bargain? Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, where they offer you real value because when Chesterfield Fence and Deck builds your next project that it's going to last for years to come. Highest quality materials, best installation with their own team of installers with years of experience, and they stand behind everything they do. Give them a call. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll give you 48 months interest-free financing. They'll come to you for free in-home estimates, free project design, or you can stop by their beautiful showroom and get some great ideas for what you'd like to have built next. That beautiful project in your outdoor space that will last for years to come with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, chesterfieldfence.com.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
You can see Olympic hopefuls in St. Louis next year at the 2026 Prevagen U.S. Figure Skating Championships, and Tom Ackerman sat down with Matt Farrell, U.S. Figure Skating CEO.
Well, I tell people in the Sports Commission of how widely regarded and highly regarded the Sports Commission is here in St. Louis. Nationally, it's known. It's always on that short list of best sports commissions. And just the way this community is embraced, not just, baseball and other sports, but Olympic sports, NCAA sports, golf. Yeah, as you know, the figure skating national championships were here in 2006. And so this is just an absolute hub for us and the sport, and we couldn't be more excited to be back.
It is a very prestigious event. The champions are crowned in women's, men's, pairs, ice dance events across the championship and junior levels, plus novice pairs and ice dance. This is the qualification event for the Winter Olympics. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this.
This is the crown jewel of events for figure skating. The Winter Olympics in Milan, Cortina come up in February. So everybody's going to step on the ice here in St. Louis, and all roads have to go through St. Louis to get to Milan. And it's just going to be absolute packed. And if you look at the history of the sport of figure skating, like some of the most common household names you've ever heard in Olympic, history of Peggy Fleming and Dorothy Hamill, Brian Boitano, Christy Yamaguchi, Michelle Kwan. That's the level of what you're going to see here of who are going to be those really next icons of the sport.
Why do you think it is so popular, particularly on TV? It always draws well, just as gymnastics does during the summer.
I think there's something to it where the blend of athleticism and artistry, and this may seem like a small thing, but in other sports, you don't see the faces as much. Even comparison to a football or some other sports where you just really feel like you know the person and it feels intimate. And whether you go to the event and just see how phenomenal the skills are, but these people and these skaters are so good at what they do artistically, athletically, that you just can immediately relate to them.
And I should add USA Swimming, because you were the CMO there for 13 years. Another, just as you said, popular sport. We get to know the people, we see them, we sort of get attached to them and rally for them.
Yeah, it's the Olympics is just like something you've never seen. And, the television aspect in Paris in 2024 was just this revitalization of the Olympic movement. And the storytelling and the people and the personalities are so relatable that it's easy to kind of fall in love, whether it's a swimmer or a bobsled athlete or a speed skater or figure skater. And I think that's what still that magic and that uniqueness of the Olympics is still there and makes it so special.
This is Matt Farrell, the CEO of U.S. Figure Skating. When I was doing some background research, just trying to prep for this interview, I discovered your podcast, and I saw
did you?
Yeah. Interviewing.
You're on a short list.
but that it made me interested. I started to watch some of these because I found it interesting. You were really tapping into different sports, trying to understand. It probably is very helpful in running U.S. figure skating, because the big thing is you never want to rest, right? You always want to be better, and you want to learn what people think of your product. And that's probably an important part of what you do.
100%. A lot of my career in that podcast in particular was started because I just think I've been asked for years, decades, of what it's like to work in the sports business. How do I work in sports? And I love the NFL, I love the NBA, I love MLB, but there's so many other career opportunities out there to work in sports that are wider than that. And so just like you do on a daily basis, you feel like, okay, where are these really interesting people, interesting jobs, and try to tell those stories. And I think that's the same with figure skating, where how do you make these athletes very relatable and tell those backstories where you start to root for them and in maybe some cases root against, but you just create emotion.
And there has been a lot of emotion in the figure skating world, hasn't there, within the last year?
It's rough. When this event happens in St. Louis, it's going to be coming up of, the anniversary of a horrific plane crash that impacted so many people in the figure skating community. They were leaving from this event in Wichita in January of last year. And I came in after that into this role, but you realized how devastating and soul crushing, and the topic still comes up every day of what are we doing for those families? What are we doing for the athletes who want to keep going? And so it will have a little bit of a somber tone to some aspects of the event because it was just so impactful and meaningful to the figure skating community. And it's still hurting and grieving.
I'm certain, and we're so sorry about that. And at the same time, I know this will also be a celebration of sport. People come out to see things that are amazing, or things that people do things that are unique. Thinking of Simone Biles being in town not long ago for the gymnastics championships. That's why this is such a big draw, and why it's your only chance if you're in St. Louis to come around. It doesn't come around that often.
Correct. And so, I would tell people, like, here's what you're going to see. Recent world championships, the U.S. won 3 out of 4 gold medals. Alyssa Liu is just this really dynamic personality. And I've just described her. She won the world championship in Boston in March, is just like the grace and beauty of a figure skater mixed with the mind of a snowboarder. And that's not common in figure skating. And she's just so captivating that I think really once the Olympic lead up begins, people are just going to really be drawn and fall in love and cheer for her. And then on the men's side, Ilya Malinin is just this really physical specimen from a jump standpoint, and doing quad jumps, and will just jump out of the ice rink. Also coming off a world championships.
That's Tom Ackerman. And U.S. Figure Skating CEO Matt Farrell. The U.S. Figure Skating Championships January 5th through 11th at Enterprise Center and Centene Community Ice Center.
Will St. Louis County Executive Sam Page have a challenger next year? Well, it's Friday, so we've got Hancock and Kelly to chat about it. Plus, former St. Louis Cardinal pitcher and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Mitch Harris joins us in studio. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the